they say more storms are coming, so we've got to get things cleaned up before more storms get in here.
Lonnie Nance says he and others in his home survived by sheltering in a hallway.
All the walls in the hallway still there. They stayed there. And the rest of the outside walls, see them, they fell in. Most of them fell in. That one right behind me is still standing, but you can see it's in bad shape.
Thousands have been left without power, many homes and businesses heavily damaged or destroyed. President Trump's big, beautiful bill, a subject of intense negotiations on Capitol Hill. House Speaker Mike Johnson says it's working its way through the legislative process.
We have multiple caucuses and multiple subgroups who have made requests and suggestions as we work towards a manager's amendment, a cleanup amendment that will go through rules.
Hoping to boost the bill's prospects, the president himself will be paying a visit to Capitol Hill later today. Mr. Trump says Ukraine and Russia have agreed to engage in ceasefire talks. He made his announcement following a lengthy discussion with Russia's Vladimir Putin. The two spoke by phone yesterday. Mr. Trump also talked with Ukraine's president and with European leaders. The Europeans, meanwhile, have just announced new sanctions on Russia targeting Russian shipping. Watching Wall Street ahead of this morning's opening bell, the Dow futures are down 33 points. NASDAQ futures 95 points lower, and the S&P futures are down 17. More on these stories, townhall.com.
If you're living with pain, see how Relief Factor can help.
My back got injured very bad. I was off work for about a year. I heard about Relief Factor from my wife. I took it every day, 3 times a day for 3 weeks. Look at her and I said, the pain is gone. And she said, I'm glad it helped. I said, no, you don't understand. It's gone.
Fight pain naturally with Relief Factor. Go to ReliefFactor.com and get your 3-week quick start today. Only $19.95.
At Straight Talk, we are all about no-brainers. Calling Grandma for her recipe, no-brainer. Streaming one more episode at 2 a.m., big no-brainer. Getting real unlimited data where you buy bananas, the ultimate no-brainer. Switch now and get a free Samsung Galaxy A16 5G or Moto G Power 5G 2025 with select plans. Straight Talk, real unlimited data. Available at Walmart and StraightTalk.com. Offer valid through 7/20/25. Taxes and fees apply. Requires in-store activation of single line gold unlimited plan or higher. For network management practices, visit StraightTalk.com/terms. Copyright 2025 Verizon.
Russian authorities have outlawed Amnesty International as an undesirable organization. A 2015 law makes involvement with such organizations a criminal offense.
The decision by the Russian Prosecutor General's office, announced in an online statement, is the latest in the unrelenting crackdown on Kremlin critics, journalists and activists that intensified to unprecedented levels after Moscow invaded Ukraine in February 2022. The designation means that the international human rights group must stop any work in Russia. Those cooperating with it face prosecution, including if anyone shares Amnesty International's reports on social media. The organization has not immediately commented on the move. I'm Charles Philippes.
Iran's supreme leader pushing back against U.S. criticism of the country's nuclear program. Ayatollah Ali Khamenei says that Tehran will not seek anyone's permission to enrich uranium. News and analysis, townhall.com. The latest Harvard-Harris poll shows Americans growing more confident in the economy.
The Harvard-Capps-Harris poll released Monday revealed the first net positive rating on the strength of the U.S. economy since July of 2021, the first few months of President Joe Biden's administration. When asked how strong do you think the U.S. economy is today, a majority of registered voters polled saw it as strong under President Trump compared to weak for almost the entirety of the Biden administration. 51% of those polled called it strong, a gain of 5 points from April, and 49% called it weak, a decline of 6 points from April. The report said, quote, for the first time since July 2021, just over half of voters say the U.S. economy is strong today. Bernie Bennett reporting.
A Texas man facing execution for the burning death of an elderly clerk during a store robbery more than a decade ago. Matthew Lee Johnson is set to receive a lethal injection this evening at the state pen in Huntsville. More on these stories at townhall.com.
What in the wide, wide world of sports is going on here?
I promise you, whatever scum did this, not one man on this force will rest for 1 minute until he's behind bars. Now let's grab a bite to eat. Yeah, come on.
I feel the hot wind on my shoulder and the touch of a world that is older. I hit the switch and check the number. I leave it on and Sorry, cumbia music. I hear the talking of the DJ. The travel witch and what does he say? I'm on a Mexican radio. I'm on a Mexican radio.
Broadcasting live from high atop the J.P. White Building in downtown Roswell, New Mexico. It's Mornings with Mike Winters on 106.5 Roswell's Talk FM.
Is that what I sound like when I talk?
Now, here's your host, Mike Winters.
And good morning, one and all. Welcome to Mornings with Mike Winters. I am he. That would be me, Mike Winters. Happy Tuesday.
Yes.
Warm. I think it's gonna be windy again.
A bit windy, yeah. That's what I'm.
Although the
hearing.
winds of yesterday didn't seem to hit till later.
No, it was a little later in the afternoon
Like
that it really
the 4
started.
o'clock time was kind of whipping, and it seemed more cloudy. Like it was not as hot as I was anticipating.
What was weird about yesterday's wind was that it was coming in bursts.
Yeah.
Like it would just be like,
yeah.
You just get smacked in the side of the face with wind.
See you in a few minutes.
Yep.
Yeah, it was kind of one of those days. But yeah, and of course, we're supposed to hit like the century mark later in the week or right near it. So yeah, it's gonna be. Kids are out. Summer starts right at the exact same time.
And I guess the big news for the kiddos is the outside pool opens up Saturday.
Yes,
officially, correct?
yeah. The outdoor pool, the Recreation Aquatic Center opens up here on Saturday.
For some reason, I thought they were going to wait until Monday, until the actual Memorial Day.
Memorial Day weekend.
The weekend, heck yeah.
So get your pool on out at the Aquatic Center starting this weekend.
That's right, which also means, weather permitting, the splash pads will be open.
Yeah.
Turned
and of
on.
course, graduations, so hey, cap and gown right to the splash pad.
That's right.
It's gonna be hot enough.
I'll tell you what, though, that the gown material, water will just bead right off.
That's right. Oh, it'll be flowy.
Yeah, it's nice.
Those things are very very water wicking.
Moisture wicking technology in those gowns.
Yeah, but yes. Good morning, happy Tuesday. Something that kind of made it was on the news and then video footage of the internet. Big one yesterday in the news cycle, which I'm kind of puzzled on this one.
Okay.
I'm sure you've seen the video footage of the Mexican naval ship.
You know what?
In the New York harbor and hitting the Brooklyn Bridge.
Yeah, I was just having a conversation with somebody about this this morning, actually.
Yeah. I got a lot of questions. They said there's maybe some mechanical issues with the boat.
From what I've gathered, they were brought in from tides. Like the tide brought them that way. They were actually going the opposite direction. Their power went out, which means they couldn't control their rudder, which means they couldn't steer out. So basically, they were pulled into the bridge.
And okay, so all of that's going on.
Yeah. My
question is, hey, we're going to the bridge. Maybe those people standing up on the top sails should come down.
Should probably bring them down. And that was actually part of...
That's the part I don't get.
It's like, why do we still have all men on to their stations when we know something not great is happening right now?
And now, that's a customary thing. Like, what they're doing is whenever they leave port, because that's what they're doing. They were tugged out of port,
right.
And I guess the currents or the winds blew them back into the river. But as part of the tradition, all the sailors line up. It's beautiful with lights and on the different sails. But yeah, that's the part I get is either they say there was something wrong and there wasn't.
Okay.
And the guy just didn't know what they were doing, or there was something wrong. But then why didn't the captain say, "All right, let's get the people off the sails
bring the
down.
Guy off the
We're getting
crow's
awful
nest.
close to that bridge. Maybe we should bring them down."
Here's
a lot of questions.
Now, here's my biggest question, and maybe I'm just out of the loop on this.
Yeah.
Why is the Spanish Navy or the Mexican Navy?
Mexican.
Why are they using the ship from Pirates of the Caribbean, Dead Man's Chest?
Okay, I can explain that one.
Okay.
That is... It's promotional.
It's a ceremonial ship, right?
Yeah,
okay,
it's done for tradition.
Assumed.
Yeah, they said it in there. The ship is designed it goes around and does some kind of peace, goodwill kind of.
Right.
It's a olive branch ship. It is not designed for war, nor is it capable of war.
Sure.
At least not in the modern century.
My favorite comment I've heard so far, though, was I was talking to somebody about it, and they were talking about how, there were some casualties. There were some people falling off of the bridge. But they had the bridge back open, all lanes of traffic within like 3 or 4 hours.
Yeah.
This guy I was talking to said, "Good bridge." Just the way, good bridge.
Yeah.
I'm like, well, that's your takeaway?
A boat hit a bridge in Baltimore, and it didn't work out so good.
And that's the thing about that.
Of course, that did a little different than that
one. That bridge, the way it was structured was meant to collapse like that.
Yep,
but
I've been on that bridge.
That's terrifying.
The Francis Scott Key Bridge, that's a scary bridge.
It looks like that, the other shipwreck, it looks like that boat barely just went dink, and the thing was like,
yeah. Well, in all seriousness, it's a wooden ship. And it literally hit it with wooden sticks, and wooden sticks against metal ain't gonna do much when it's drifting. I mean, it's just.
Well, I'm not talking about this one. I'm talking about the last one.
Oh, the last one. Yeah,
yeah.
That was iron hitting they hit the base structure
I know,
of the bridge.
But the way, like the footage, since it's so far back, it looks like that boat just kind of goes, tink.
Yeah.
And the bridge is like.
It's a little bit more than that.
That's rough footage to watch, but this one, good bridge. But yeah, I mean, of course, T&Ps to all the folks who were affected. Thoughts and prayers.
Well, yeah, it's just crazy that I'm hoping. I mean, at the end of the day, I think it was just a big accident. But I don't know, man. Something just doesn't make sense to me about it. If they're both having issues, why do you still have the people up when you can clearly see you're losing control and it's heading towards the bridge? At what point do you say, all right, order them down?
My argument,
ceremony time's over. We got to protect lives.
My counterpoint is, I'm thinking all of this happened with the power and all that within a matter of like minutes, seconds.
Maybe, but I'm telling you, if they lost power and they're drifting, there's not even an attempt to come down. They're just literally standing like, oh, it's good. Oh, like literally even seconds before they're hitting, someone's like, maybe we should get down. None of that's happening. And I don't get this.
I think the problem is that the captain spoke Spanish.
I don't speak Spanish.
You know I don't speak Spanish.
Baxter.
That's got to be what it is. It's just a communication breakdown.
I'm not even mad. I'm impressed.
Lord be with him in this trying time. We're not laughing at the situation. This is how we deal with things. Okay?
Sorry, I had to go full on Anchorman.
I've always tried to work levity into situations like this. It's the only way I know how to process trauma.
Yeah, I'm just baffled by it.
Yeah, it's a very weird story.
Milk was a bad choice.
Leche es no bueno.
All right, let me give you the rundown for today's show.
Address all complaints to Sean Small's care of Mornings with Mike Winters.
Well, as I said, though, not associated.
Yeah,
they're more Naked Gun not Naked Gun, Anchorman than the situation of which we were speaking.
Yes.
But let me give you the rundown here. This morning, we're going to replay our interview we had back on May 8th with Victoria Arnett and her father, Bobby Arnett. Victoria is an Eagle Scout here in the Conquistador Council for Scouting America. Actually, the first female Eagle Scout in the Conquistador Council for Scouting America. And, of course, they came on. We talked a little bit with Victoria about, her plans and everything else. But mostly they mostly joined us to talk about this weekend, May 24th, this Saturday. They're going to be, the Scouts are going to be putting out the flags for Memorial Day out at South Park and down at the Veterans ceremony or Veterans display out there and putting graves on all that. So looking for volunteers to come out and be a part of it and all that too. So we'll play that interview for you here in just a few minutes.
I chuckled just momentarily there because I drove by, I can't remember where I was going, but I drove by the backside of South Park on Mother's Day. I've never seen that place busier in my entire life. A lot of people spending Mother's Day with Mom. I'm thinking, yeah.
That's nice. I mean, it's sad, but nice.
It was a little sad, but it was just like, I've never seen that much traffic at South Park. It was kind of crazy.
Yeah, and this is, I really can't because that's a whole nother discussion. Right. But, it's nice to see people because I always feel like, at least in my family, someone gets buried and it's years between you see them. And it's like, like I've seen, unfortunately, now part of it's because I live across the other side of the country from her. But I've literally visited my mom's grave like twice in 3 times in the 20 years that she's been with us.
I know where my dad is buried. I've been there twice since.
Yeah.
He still doesn't have a headstone.
Yeah.
So, but I know where he's at. So
And my father, he's in a different. But I've never been to his because last time I went, we went, and that was his funeral. That's the last time I've been to the. He's in a veteran's. He's actually interred in a
mausoleum.
Yeah, but it's his ashes. It's not. It's one of those. I can't remember what they call them, but those boxes you can put the ashes in, and they got a name for it and all that. I just don't remember what it is. But anyway, he's in one of those in Maryland, and then my mom's buried somewhere else.
Ash box.
Well, it's. Like
I'm kidding. I know.
I don't know what it's called.
I don't know what it's called.
That thing. Anyway, I don't know where I was doing the rundown. So anyway, we're gonna talk with Victoria and Bobby in the 7 o'clock hour. Play that interview. Folks from the Chaves County Extension Office going to join us in the 8 o'clock hour. Give us an update on that. Of course, fair season is right around the corner.
Tell me about it.
As soon as we start tossing caps in the air, right after that, we start thinking about fair. So at least we do. I know a lot of people.
It just says it's called an urn vault.
Yeah. Oh, there you go. I thought it had a fancy name, like something Datorium.
Volte de urn.
Something Datorium or something.
I can't roll my R's right now. Urn. There you go.
Ah. Fragile must be Italian. And then finally, in the 9 o'clock hour, we're going to replay our interview we had last week with the ladies from the Chaves County Federated Republican Women, inviting folks out to their next meeting, which in the interview we'll say next week. It's actually tomorrow out at the Elks Lodge, so we'll play that interview for you. And we'll have all your other newses and all that good stuff. All right, 7:17. Let's go ahead and I better get the show interview going and all that. Let's do this. Let's play weather, and then we'll go right into the break. And then on the other side, we'll play our interview with Victoria and Bobby Arnett. Don't go away. You're listening to Mornings with Mike Winters.
I'm meteorologist Steve Hamilton with your Pecos Valley weather. Pretty warm today, but the wind should stay fairly light, maybe a little breezy, sunny, and we're headed for the mid-80s. Overnight, low 50s and clear, and then we start a little warming trend on Wednesday. We'll be in the low to mid-90s, and we get sunshine. Sunny again on Thursday. We'll be staying in the mid-90s. Then we start to get into the upper 90s with sunshine on Friday. That's your latest forecast. I'm meteorologist Steve Hamilton.
Good morning. This is Smiley Wooten at the Roswell Livestock Auction. 1,374 head of cattle sold on Monday on a higher market with excellent buyer tenants compared to last week. Stocker calves sold steady to 12 higher. Feeder cattle 8 to 12 higher. Packer cows and bulls $3 to $5 higher. 3 to 400 pound steers $4.90, $5.35. 3 to 400 pound heifers $4.25, $4.40. 4 to 500 pound steers $4, $4.90. 4 to 500 pound heifers $3.75, $4.25. 5 to 600 pound steers $3.87, $4. 5 to 600 pound heifers $3.35, $3.75. 6 to 700 pound steers $3.30, $3.87. 6 to 700 pound heifers $2.77, $3.35. 7 to 800 pound steers $3.07, $3.30. 7 to 800 pound heifers $2.57, $2.77. Packer cows $1.55, $1.66. Canner and cutter cows $1.40, $1.45. Packer bulls $1.78, $1.89. Feeder bulls $1.68, $1.75. The top half the cow-calf pairs $2,850 to $3,125 per pair. And the bred cows not well tested this week. Next week's sale will be held on Tuesday in observance of Memorial Day. Expecting another nice run of cattle. Talk to you next Tuesday morning. This is Smiley Wooten, Roswell Livestock Auction.
Hey, Roswell, during these unprecedented times when others are raising prices, Roswell Ford is lowering ours with employee pricing for everyone. So you pay what we pay. Only at Roswell Ford. Make no payments for 90 days. Upside down in your current vehicle and want out early? Roswell Ford can help you get out of your trade, even if you owe thousands more than it's worth, regardless of make, miles, or condition. So you can pay what we pay today with employee pricing to all customers on new Ford cars, trucks, and SUVs. And our aggressive finance team will push to approve your credit, even if it's less than perfect. Attention business owners, Roswell Ford has a great selection of commercial vehicles, and we have them for less. Plus, Roswell Ford offers mobile services, so our certified technicians will come to you and perform oil changes, tire rotations, batteries, recalls, and more. Contact us for details. For massive American-made savings and employee pricing for everyone. Get on board at Roswell Ford, 821 North Main Street in beautiful Roswell. Call 575-623-3673 or online at roswellford.com. Interest accrues from date of sale on select vehicles. Trade balance refinanced to new loan subject to lender approval. Offers not combined. Expires in 1 cent.
Injury, surgery, or illness can set you back, but you don't have to recover alone. At Artesia General Hospital, our rehabilitation services team provides physical, occupational, and speech therapy to help you regain strength, mobility, and confidence. Take the next step toward recovery. Call 575-736-8174 today to schedule an appointment and get back to living life to the fullest.
Do you want to improve the appearance of your smile or increase your self-esteem and confidence? Many people have already chosen to update their smile with veneers. Here at Carabelli Dental in Roswell, we work with our patients to understand their smile goals. With veneer treatment, we can eliminate gaps between teeth, solve the problems of stained teeth, and even perfect uneven or misshaped teeth. You owe it to yourself to have the smile you know is possible. Call us now.
Come see the team at Carabelli Dental or call 575-622-4455.
So you've made it to Roswell, the UFO capital of the world. You've been to the museum, seen some aliens, maybe even taken a few pictures with our sign. But now, it's really time to see Roswell with our cool new app. With the app, you can find shopping, restaurants, places to stay, places to play, tours, museums, and even set your plans. For the locals who say there's nothing to do in Roswell, our app has a list of events and happenings around town. Pretty cool, right? So head over to the App Store, download, and see Roswell. It's available for Apple and Android.
If you suffer from pogonophobia, you would not want to attend a party with the following people: Kenny Rogers, Santa Claus, Willie Nelson, the cast of Duck Dynasty, and 2/3 of ZZ Top. Here's Mike Winters.
And good morning. It is 23 minutes after 8 o'clock, and joining us in studio this morning, Eagle Scout Victoria Arnett and Scoutmaster and Dad Bobby Arnett as well. Good morning, guys.
Good morning. Thanks for having us.
Thanks for coming in. Appreciate what you do. And yeah, Victoria's you're a super scout, right? I mean, you're an Eagle Scout. How many? Because let's just face it, females entering scouting is, what, 2 years now, maybe? It's not that long. It's been...
I think it's 19.
Has it been that long?
19 or 20.
Gosh,
yeah.
I'm behind the times.
Probably
It's been
about
6
5
years. Has it been that long?
5
I was
years.
thinking
5
like
or
2 years
6
ago.
years, yeah.
But, you know, there's not a lot of, you know, not a lot of Eagle Scouts, but not a lot of female Eagle Scouts either. And so...
Yeah,
you know,
right now
kinda,
she's the only one in Roswell.
Yeah.
We've got...
you're the first?
In Chavez County.
Potential, you know, that just need to, you know, continue working and move up through the ranks. But right now, she's our only one.
Good deal. Well, I'm going to take a stab. You won't be alone for long.
Yeah.
But you're kind of, and you know what? And that's kind of an achievement. Like, from now on, you kind of are a little mark of history in the Conquistador Council for Scouting USA or Scouting America now. You know, at the very best, one day they're going to have a banquet, and it'll be 20 years from now, and and they're going to ask like, this is our first ever female Eagle Scout in the Conquistador Council, Victoria Arnett, and you're going to be there, and you're going to be old and wrinkled like us,
right?
And so that's kind of a cool thing. I don't know if you realize that yet, but you kind of for better or worse that's going to be something you're known for the rest of your life. Here in Chavez County and Roswell, that's going to be, which is a good thing. But it's life happens that way. But scouting, and this is something. The main thing we want to talk about here is we do want to get the public involved, and this is the main reason we're talking today. Is every year, as a tradition here, Scouts in Chavez County in Roswell always go out to South Park and our cemeteries around town. And on Memorial Day weekend, put flags out on the graves of every single veteran that calls cemeteries home, or calls the South Park Cemetery and other town here home here. And it's an important thing. This is something, and scouting,
right.
12 points of Scout. This is everything that is what scouting is. But we would love to get more than just Scouts out there doing it. We would love to have the public hand in hand with the Scouts out there here on the 24th, paying tribute to those who have made the ultimate sacrifice for us.
I think from my perspective, as far as community service goes, scouting and community service, they go hand in hand. I mean, every part of advancement requires so much community service. Your Eagle Project, huge community service. And so I think the Scouts, historically, that's just a big part of what they do. And subset to that is that this particular community service is probably one of my favorite ones. And it's every year. So you know that you have this community service opportunity that's coming up. So if you need hours or whatever, every year you can count on that they will have this job out there. And it's fun.
Absolutely.
It's a lot of fun.
Absolutely. It is fun, and it is it's cool. It's social. I mean, to be honest, yes, I know you're thinking, oh, my goodness, that sounds like a drag, going out and, hanging out in cemeteries and doing these things. But, it is fun. You do meet other people, and you might make a friend or two. But it also gives you time to pause and reflect, because you're literally walking in front of the markers of all these people that are no longer with us. And it's history in and of itself. I mean, you'll go out there and you'll see graves from long, long ago. They're not all modern, and some predate World War I. I think out at Memory Lawn, I think there's some like Civil War or something that early out there. There's a few of those out there.
I'm positive that at South Park there's Civil War headstones.
Yeah, there's some stuff that's been out there, and to me, that's as interesting as the moment and the importance of what we do. But take a moment to look at the markers, look at the graves. It tells a story, and it tells a history. And at the end of the day, that's why Scouts do it, because that's, it's part of that service. But it's also these young men and women, when they're out there putting these down, you're hoping to say, this is why we do what we do. These are the people that, at some point, we're the generation that takes over for these people and things like that. And so it's that teachable moment for your families too. So I would love for the whole families to come out, bring your kids, obviously age appropriate about what you talk about and some of this stuff, but exposing your child to things bigger than you, this is what this event's about. To kind of to help, it's not all about what you do in your bubbles and everything else. And so it's much more than just coming out, hanging out, getting up early and then going out and placing a couple hundred flags on markers.
A couple hundred, it's actually 3,000.
Yeah, I would say I'm a little ball in it, but
it's about 3,000 flags, and that's why we also ask that people come out. It's enjoyable and it's necessary, but it's a big job. It's a big job. It's 3,000 flags. The Scouts are always out there. We have other community service organizations that show up and help, but there's always room for one more. That's the thing is, last year so-and-so made it. Maybe this year they can't, so somebody new,
We need to keep, and it's tradition. Like you said, I think since the 80s, Scouts here. Has it been even longer than that?
So, I don't know. I have been doing it since, 83.
Okay.
When I was in Scouts, we were out there.
So it's probably way older. It's probably been going longer than that. Yeah.
It's entirely possible.
Yeah.
But I know when I was out there as a Scout, we had fun. We're out there.
And I'm going to take a stab that you kind of had your family moments with Victoria and your kids and and your whole family. Like, I remember Dad when I was your age out here doing this, and I'm sure you had that moment at some point.
Right. No, we've all done it. It's a family affair. My son, when he was here, his wife, they've done it. Victoria, obviously. In fact, whenever you're on the South Park, or if you Google South Park, it comes up with a few pictures, and the picture of her putting flags out is one of the ones that populates first.
Nice.
And I think it's been viewed, last time I checked, it was like 30,000 times. That
celebrity didn't even know it, huh?
Yeah, well, that's another part of Scouting.
Yeah.
Is, she's also in the advertisements for Bitter Lakes. They ask the Scouts to go out and look at the trails and whatnot.
Is modeling a career option for you after? Seems like you got already a book put together here.
Well, it's just through Scouting, she's had a lot of little opportunities.
Have experiences.
Yeah,
well, and this is the point. This is why I sit here every time we're talking with Scouts, singing the praises of Scouting. Me as a child, I'm a product of Scouting. I grew up. They didn't have Tiger Cubs when I started. I went right into Cub Scouts and did all that. But I mean, I'm a person that's literally, if you could do it in Scouting, I've been adjacent to it. I got to go to a World Jamboree. That's very rare for Scouts to do. I am an Eagle Scout. Matter of fact, we got 3 Eagle Scouts in one room right now. And I too am an Eagle Scout. But I got to go to Philmont, which is a bigger deal than you realize. Most people here, because you have it in your own backyard, you're blessed.
Right.
That is the premier high adventure camp for Scouting. And there's people from all over the world that come and make that place, that come to visit that place. But anyway, I got to do that, which is a bigger deal than most people think around here. And I got to, scouting. I went through Order of the Arrow. I got through Vigil Honor. I was a chapter chief. I mean, I really, I served in many levels of scouting and everything I am today. I mean, yes, my parents helped and did a great job raising me. But as far as, my job in radio, how I talk, how I handle myself, the things I deem important in this world and what I hold matter to me, a lot of that has formed through my time in scouting.
Correct. There's so many leadership opportunities, with the patrol, the troop, and like you said, through the Order of the Arrow.
Mm-hmm.
There's just, so many different ways that you can be in charge and help organize, facilitate.
Yeah. It's making children, preparing them to be adults, whatever they do. And that's the beauty of scouting. It don't matter if you want to be a model, a writer, a rocket scientist, or a business owner, or military, or whatever. Whatever path you want to choose, scouting will give you the tools to create a foundation that'll serve you well, whatever you do.
Correct.
And that's scouting. And that's it's the 12 points of the Scout Law. Be prepared. All the things that you know about scouting, those are more than just words to scouts. These are a lifestyle. It's a way to live. It's the way to be. It's the way to think. And I'm gonna tell you right now, people like Victoria and folks that have spent time in scouting, they're going to be better equipped to handle things. They're harder to rattle, these folks, because they're prepared.
To give you an example, my son, Eagle Scout, obviously, whenever he graduated from basic training, he was automatically given another stripe because of the leadership that he had gotten through his scouting career. When he graduated, he was a stripe above all his peers.
I did the same thing.
Now he's at Luke Air Force Base, and he has been given so many awards for being a top performer on the base, including the top airman for the entire
Airman
base.
of the quarter, airman.
Yeah.
I imagine when senior airman comes available here, he'll be applying for below the zone, and I know that, but most people don't. But yeah, when you in the Air Force, there's an opportunity to get your senior airman early if you're a super troop and your commanders can recommend you, and you have to go to a board, and it's a whole rigmarole. But I don't think he's quite hit that mark yet in his career, but he's probably pretty close to it. So.
No, but it's definitely, his experience, his leadership experience through scouting has definitely paid off in the Air Force.
What is he? Just he was curious. Luke, is he? He's on the flight line, right?
He started out on the flight line, and he's now has a different job where he is like a quartermaster.
Okay.
I don't know what it is, the actual term.
I'm going to take a stab at, he's running. He's a very important person to blow. He's going to be, I'm going to guess he's the guy that all the mechanics get their toolboxes from. Like, they got to check in with him, and he's the keeper of all of the supply and inventory.
Right.
So, like, when the new person shows up and they don't know nothing, and they send the new guy out for K9P, they're going to see your kid, and he's probably telling them there's no such thing as K9P. Tell your guy to go do that. Or give him 6 miles of flight line.
He was on the flight line, and then he graduated to this job, and he loves it because it's inside.
Yeah.
And Luke Air Force Base
is hot.
It's hot.
But it is so important.
Yeah.
But I will tell you right now, when they deploy, he's going to be humping. Because guess who's got to pack all that stuff up, make sure it all gets on the plane, make sure it gets to where it's got to get to.
Right.
It's those guys. And there's a lot of work involved. So.
Yeah, he said it's huge responsibility, and there's hazardous materials. He has the log, and he has to dispose of it and properly handle it. And he calls and he's like, oh, you wouldn't believe the day I had to, he had to have something with hazardous materials, and they had to go up to the other side of the base, and he had to have outriders and stuff for whatever he was carrying.
Yeah,
like,
it's very
Goodness.
meticulous. It's kind of, but yeah, I know because I was a weapons troop. I worked on the flight line. I loaded bombs. That was my job. But everyone on the flight line deals with your son. I'm telling you, because he's kind of the gatekeeper for everything. If you need tools, if you need anything that you need to do your job, he's the one who has it. Now, I know with like weapons crews, we have our own toolboxes, and each crew builds and creates their own toolbox. But guess who's holding on to it? We're not at work. It's the quartermaster. They're the ones. They're the ones that make the flight line go. It really is it's kind of an unsung hero job. It's one of those jobs that is one of the most important out there, but they don't get the glory of the crew chief or the pilot per se. But put it this way: every pilot, every crew chief, every super, and every pilot knows that they better take care of your son, because if they don't, they're going to have a bad day. That's the kind of job your son has. Right. Based on my personal experience here too. But again, Boy Scouts, scouting. That's what gave him the tools to when basic training hit, and they hit you that, and he's ready. He probably flourished in those environments because scouting gives you the tools to handle that kind of stuff and let you understand exactly what they're trying to do there. And once you do that, then things don't seem as weird or hard if you understand.
Yeah, they're not micromanaged. It's kind of nice that the scouts are given some authority, and then they can run with that.
Absolutely. And that's the thing with scouting, and we were just talking about this. Patrick was on yesterday talking about, by the way, Scouting America would love to invite everyone to their mommy and me for Mother's Day weekend. It's this Saturday on the courthouse lawn from, is it 10 to noon, I believe? Off the top of my head, I don't remember, but it was 10 to noon. And Mom, come on out with your kids. Now it's family-friendly. Dad can come on out, everybody. But they're going to do little crafts and stuff with families and kind of let kids kind of make some cool stuff for Mom for Mother's Day. They're going to have all kind of stuff. It's all free. Doesn't cost a dime. All you got to do is come on out. And but Scouting America here is inviting everyone out. It's Mom and Me, and it's 10 to noon this Saturday on the Chaves County Courthouse lawn.
Right. I'm really excited about that.
Yeah.
I think that's going to get some good traction.
Yeah, but we were having to talk to Patrick about that yesterday, and we were kind of talking about scouting and how it's kind of, as the kids, when they're young, they're learning the fundamentals of scouting. In Cub Scouts and stuff, it's more family, and they learn some of the base. But when they become the scouting, those first year kids, those younger ones, they're learning the fundamentals of scouting, learning that not only scout oaths and laws, but they're learning the fundamentals, toting ship, camping, the skills that they need, that every scout needs when they go on camping trips and things like it. That's that first part. As they get a little older, then they start being in the leadership side. They either go from the ones to coming to the events to start planning and organizing and the logistics of the event. At the end of the day, the adults are in the room to keep the kids from blowing the place up. That's kind of the idea. Is the adults, they're there to be mentors but at the end of the day, it's your older youth that are running the show. They're planning the events. They're planning how the events are going to get off, what logistics are needed. It's your senior patrol leaders. It's your patrol leaders. These are 15, 16, 17-year-old kids that are really running the show.
Right.
And that's kind of, and then, when they get a little older, not 16, that's when you can go into the ventures and exploring and that side of scouting where it gets more niche into what they're into. If you're into law enforcement or to nursing or to welding, that's where exploring and everything can kind of be your niche for you. So, but scouting, that part of scouting, it's the first part but as they get a little older, it goes from them being really part of the program to be running the program.
That's kind of what we're seeing with some of the cadets at NMMI. Victoria is a student at NMMI, and her whole career at the school has been in leadership positions. From her very first semester, jumping up to team leader to,
Scouting's probably the reason for some of that.
Right, because, when she was in scouting, there was a year there where she was the lodge chief, which is, all of southeastern New Mexico,
it's a big deal.
Parts of Texas, and she was the same thing, organizing events, banquets, whatnot, and then she goes to NMMI and has these multiple leadership positions, and the other scouts that are there, we've seen them excel as well.
They kind of rise to the top here.
Correct.
Because they have that experience and everything. So I'm going to take a stab, not saying NIMI's easy, because it's not, but I'm going to say you were probably better equipped than the average cadet walking through the door for the first time. Am I pretty safe in assuming that?
Yes, last year, there were 2 TCs, the troop leaders, that were scouts, and then I was in regimental staff, and another scout was also the battalion leader, who's in charge of all of high school. So a lot of the main people that are in charge of everyone were all scouts.
Nice. So, but you all had that connection, didn't you?
Yeah, we were all friends.
Sure, and you kind of had and you had your inside game that no one ever knew, and y'all hit them with a scouting thing, and they all give you deer in headlights scouting thing. Especially if you get an order of the arrow stuff, you start getting into some of the because it's and OA, that's something you can learn more about when you get into scouting. But Order of the Arrow is basically an honorship position within scouting. It is other scouts look at the best campers, the best scouters, and they say, you are worthy to be in this other organization. And that's another organization. And that one, it's not secret, but it's got a little bit more of the pageantry and things that aren't, unless you're in the group, you really don't need to know about it. But once you get there, then they do it. And that's what Order of the Arrow, but it's really an honorship organization within the organization. And when you get into scouting, you'll learn more about it. But it's kind of another
I'll give you
opportunity.
one more kind of insight into the scouting connection, which I think is just really cool. So there were 4 cadets on the NMMI campus out of the 660 or whatever the enrollment was this last year. There were 4 that were recognized for the Presidential Volunteer Service Award,
That's amazing.
And they have gold, silver, bronze. So 3 of the 4 were scouts.
Scouts are excelling in other places in scouting. And by the way, and we're talking about all the benefits, and all of these things are very true. And Victoria, she's already seeing some of that, and will continue to see some of that over here in the coming years. But scouting is also the fun side too. You put into scouting you'll get out of scouting what you put into it. It's one of those organizations. And I will tell you this. Some people get involved in scouting and they're like, I'm not into the ranks, and they'll literally be tenderfoot the whole time. But they love the camping, they love the camaraderie, and they love all the things that scouts stand for. And that's okay too.
Right.
Not all of us are cut out to be Eagle Scouts or do all the thing. But if you love camping, if you love camaraderie, if you love being involved in situations and fun things and doing things that you probably would have never had a chance to do in other circles. That's what scouting is. So I always want to say yes. If you're trying to, punch those goals to achieve, scouting can help you do all that. But if you're just looking to meet people and to be some fellowship and hang out with, scouting is that too. And I know so many kids, or now adults, that they didn't, they were first class, where they never got far in but the camping trips, the things they did together, the things that they still carry them to this day. So not every scout is an Eagle Scout. It's a very rare number.
The way I look at it is the way I justify it is that I say that every activity that the scouts do, they add a tool to their toolbox.
Absolutely.
And when they get their Eagle Scout, that's like wrapping the box up. That's like the final piece to the puzzle.
Yeah.
But you're still filling the drawers. Yeah. Every camp out, every community service activity, every event for the church, school, whatever it is, that's you're just adding another tool to the toolbox.
Yeah.
And sometimes you make it to the end and you get the whole toolbox wrapped up and finished. But if you don't, you still got tools.
Absolutely. I mean, and this is the thing that scouting. It's the answer. The confidence. Because you are going. I'm telling you right now. If you spend any time in scouting, you are going to test your limits at some point. You're going to get your boundaries pushed. They're going to make you climb a rock climb or climb a pole or do something. And you're like, there's no way in hey, I'm going to be doing that. And you do it and you overcome it and things. And scouting was that for me too, because I'm a heights guy. And literally when they send me to these various high adventure bases and I go and we're going to do rappelling and rock climbing. Wonderful. But I did it. And now you ain't going to catch me on a mountain climbing today because but I did it, and I can do it, and I said I can do it. And if push comes to shove, I know I can do that again. Now, I ain't seeking to do that, but I know in my heart I've got the gumption to do that. And scouting pushed that with me.
Right.
Just because I don't want to do it doesn't mean I can't do it. And scouting gave me the confidence to know if I have to do it, I can do it. And that's what scouting is. It does push your boundaries, but it also shows you that you are capable of more than you realize sometimes. And that's scouting also.
Right.
Yeah, and that's the beauty of scouting and everything about it. So come out this Saturday. Come out May 24th. What time is everyone gathering here at the...
We like to start at 7 o'clock.
Okay.
We have an orientation. We have all of the flags are bunched up into groups of like 20 or 25 or something, and everybody takes a few bundles. We have probably like 30 of these metal rods that we use to
pierce the ground to put the flags in.
Yeah, to prep to prep it for the flag, pop a hole in the ground, and the
Sure.
flag goes in, because otherwise it's much harder, So we've kind of refined it over the years, and it's easier now. And we've kind of got it figured out as far as, teams. You have one person's popping the holes, one person's carrying and dropping
Right.
flags.
It's like an assembly line
You
almost.
just and you just walk down the rows, the headstones, and they're pretty easy to recognize because they all say, private first class,
Yeah.
or there's some sort of insignia on the headstone.
Sometimes they'll have
that
a Army, Air Force, whatever logo on it or
Correct.
something. Yeah.
Yeah.
There is
Yeah.
every veteran's grave has something that will signify that it is a grave, whether it'll say Veteran Direct or it'll say U.S. Army or U.S. Navy, or it may have a medallion or something.
Right. So what we're suggesting is, bring a friend. Groups of 2, 3 is fantastic.
Yeah.
Somebody to carry the flags, somebody to drop them in the hole, somebody to, pop the hole. We'll have water, maybe some donuts. And it usually, if we get enough people, it actually goes pretty quickly. 3,000 flags it sounds like a lot, but if you get a bunch of people,
You're done in a few hours.
It goes
usually.
pretty quickly, yeah.
And it's like, again, many hands make less work here.
And it's enjoyable. The grounds are nice, and you're doing you're doing the right thing.
Mm-hmm.
And you do have that reflection while you're walking. You can be considering what happened to these people.
Absolutely.
And,
it reminds you the world is bigger than you sometimes.
Correct. It's really, really enjoyable. Like I said, it's one of my favorite community service things that we do. And it's consistent because like I said, I've been doing it since the 80s.
Yeah, it's one of those things. Yeah, it's definitely it's just tradition at this point, and you're like, this is what we're supposed to do, and it feels right. And then if you've never done it before, like you said, Bobby, you're thinking about your own place in this world and how you do and things and not it's not all about you. It's them great. I say I like this as teachable moments for kids. But there's a lot of teachable moments for we as adults while we're out there too, and so please make it that. Come in that spirit. Come in, yes, it's a service thing, and by all means, if kids need hours for service project, it checks all those boxes. But I would love for you to come out and then spirit and the reason on why we do this. Spend that day, why we celebrate Memorial Day, what's the importance of that, and use that as a day to kind of be that teacher or be the student yourself and learn some of it.
Right. And, in anticipation of this event, the Scouts have already been out there to the cemetery to pick up trash.
Good deal. Kind of clean it up.
We were out there 2 weeks ago. We spent some time with Keep Chaves County Beautiful to get especially the veterans part of the cemetery cleaned up. And we got, tons of bags of trash. So it'll look nice. We've already picked up the trash, and then, we'll be there Memorial Weekend to put out the flags.
And again, if folks want to serve, you can do this too. Get out there and serve and be a part of this. But this is scouting. This is what scouting. When we the 12 points. And like you said earlier in this conversation, it's a service organization. This is every scout. Yes, we're growing and shaping and forming these young men and women into adults. That's kind of part of the day job. But we are a service organization. We're here to serve the community. We're here to serve each other. We come out and put it this way. If there is a project that this community needs work on, I'm going to take a stab. There's usually some scouts hanging out involved in some way, shape, or form. That's what they do.
Being in scouting as long as I have, just driving around town, I'm like, oh, look, there's the Eagle Project there, POW Park, Eagle Project, Wool Bowl, Eagle Project. I mean, there's, the softball fields, Eagle Project.
Yeah.
I mean, anywhere you go, there's the cemetery. I think there's probably at least 5 of them that I can think of right now that have happened out there.
And fellow scouts, there's about 100 other projects that are needing on this. So if there's some life scouts looking for the Eagle projects, I know there's a few trees you can bark up here to get. Victoria, just share folks with what was your Eagle project?
It was actually at the cemetery.
Okay.
It was landscaping.
Okay.
Because the cemetery wanted to make a billboard for the veterans part of the cemetery to bring more people to be able to see it and bring more light to it.
Gotcha.
And they wanted some nice landscaping under their billboard that they could, so to make it look nice, especially for the veterans part of the cemetery.
Right. It's a cemetery. You want it to look nice. And
Right.
Like a dump. Yeah.
So I had a bunch of meetings over there with them, and they told me what they wanted, and they said that there wouldn't be able to be a lot of water over there, so we'd have to, get plants.
You had to figure out how to navigate that issue.
Exactly. So they had a few different things, but they wanted me to just do some nice landscaping to make that part of the Veteran Cemetery look good. So I brought a bunch of my Crew 30 friends from NIMI, and we all went out there and we did this nice with red gravel and some big boulders, and we did some of those yuccas. Is that what it's called? What
It's like a desert plant.
Desert plants.
Something that doesn't need water.
It doesn't need a lot of water. And it looked really nice whenever we were done.
Cool. And that's and for folks, that's the Eagle Project is one of the major steps to become an Eagle Scout. And it is a project that serves the community in some way, shape, or form. But the Eagle Scout candidate must plan every facet of this project, from acquiring materials to acquiring the labor for said project, to meet the needs of the thing, to satisfy whatever goal they're trying to achieve. That from beginning to end, the Eagle Scout has to plan and plot and organize that whole process. And that's kind of, and then at the end, they have to prove what they did, how they did, and show exactly what, okay. Because like all the rocks and things, where do you get that from? You just can't cut a check and go do that. You have to get it donated. So you're hitting various places that have these things and saying, hey, I've got a project here. Would you be willing to donate a couple bags of gravel or whatever it is you need there? And you literally have to go door to door, hitting these things up, talking to your people and getting them organized. And that's what an Eagle Project is. From concept to completion, you have to really run and organize every facet of that project. So that's kind of like one of your final exams, so to speak, for becoming an Eagle Scout. Because usually after that, assuming you got your merit badges, all that, you go from a border review, and then you're an Eagle Scout after that. So, but anyway, it's one of the biggest parts of becoming an Eagle Scout is that service project. So that's it for folks that aren't knowledgeable.
Yeah, it's very time consuming. There's a lot of paperwork involved. So that's, the thing about scouting is you hear about camping, cooking, map reading, but there's also a lot of stuff like finance.
Oh, yeah.
There's personal finance merit badge where you learn about accounting and so when you're doing your Eagle Project, that's a part of it is you got to have the numbers. The numbers have to add up.
Absolutely.
You have to have, it's going to cost this much to get it done, and I'm going to get these funds from here.
Yeah.
And,
the unsexy or fun parts of a thing, you got to do all the facets, and they learn that kind of stuff. And that's what Eagle Scout. And it's funny you talk about finance and all that. It's just when we were talking with, and we got to wrap up here, but I was talking with Patrick yesterday, and of course they are looking for a few more staff for summer camp at Camp Wahenepe this summer.
Okay.
If you're interested, come by the Scout headquarters. I think they got Scoutcraft, the ecology, nature area. They got a few, but we were talking, and when I went to Scout Camp and worked on staff, it's the same but a little different than how it is now. And one of the big differences is at Scout camps now they have technology centers, places where they're teaching the things you're talking about that aren't necessarily things you associate with scouting. And that's at every summer camp now, and including Wahenepe. Now, that's new. When I was a kid, none of that. You were lucky to have one payphone in the whole camp. That was about your technology.
Right.
Now it's a little different. So, but that's scouting. All of that is scouting, and everything you think scouting is, yes, it's camping and all the fun things you think of that way. But it is very much business, and we're preparing young people to become adults, and in all forms of life, whether it's military or things or the CEO of a Fortune 500 company. That's what scouting teaches. So.
Right.
I got way soapboxy here, but the point is we'd love to have you. First off, come this Saturday, 10 to 2, out at the Chaves County Courthouse lawn for Mommy and Me Scouting. Free event, completely free. Get some stuff, have some quality time with your family and your kids. That's this Saturday, thanks to the Conquistador Council here. And then May 24th, and we probably need to get you back a little closer just to remind folks, last-minute deal. But May 24th, that weekend, that's going to be the weekend that the Conquistador Council Scouting here will be placing the flags at all the veterans of graves out at South Park Cemetery, beginning at 7 a.m. It is not a Scout-only event. We would love the public to come out, bring your family, bring your friends, and we can get this knocked out in a few hours and come see this important tradition of scouting in Roswell.
Yeah, it looks beautiful with all the flags lined up, and everything cleaned up, mowed. I mean, it's really a great time to be out there and just reflect.
For you photographers and artists out there will be some ample good opportunities out there too.
Correct. Yes.
Good deal. And so before we go, Victor, I'm going to leave you at the last word here. Do a pitch for scouting. Talk a little bit, kind of, if you were to talk to someone, a little younger than you about scouting, what would you tell them?
I'd probably just tell them about all the opportunities that it gives you.
Okay.
Because I know a lot of young people, they might think it's boring off the top of their head because they don't know everything that it does for you. But then whenever I'm talking to like younger girls and I tell them that I learned how to sail a boat by myself in California, or I learned how to do all these different things, it really opens their eyes to like how fun it can be and how you can make so many friends, like lifelong friends throughout the way. But it also gives you different opportunities that you don't realize. Like when I went to NIMI, I'm trying to get ranks and I'm filling out my application. There's like a specific box that says, "Are you an Eagle Scout?" And there's all these different things that being an Eagle Scout can hand you that you don't realize at first. And, my board that I had a few weeks ago, they asked me what my values were, and I just told them the Scout Law and the Scout Oath. And I was like, I've been in scouting for 6 years, and before that, my dad and my brother were in scouting, so I've done this my whole life, and this is the stuff that I've always lived by. And I told it to them straight up, and their eyes kind of just opened, and I told them, I was like, I'm an Eagle Scout. I'm the first one in Roswell. And it really does open a lot of people's eyes to the dedication, first of all, because, being in something for 6-7 years or longer, especially if you've been in Cub Scouts or anything like that, you're in there for a really, really long time, and it shows how dedicated you are and
consistency.
Yeah.
And you invest your own time and energy in it.
Exactly. And when you're a NIMI cadet, you do not have free time. So, like, to be able to get your Eagle Scout outside of NIMI while you're living there and doing stuff on the weekends, it's a challenge, but it was definitely worth it because of all the opportunities that it gave me for camps or anything that I've done.
Well, and it makes you self-sufficient. Like, whatever you want to do, you've got the tools to get it done.
And I do at NIMI, they have some different leadership courses, like the rappel tower and the high ropes course and all this stuff. And I'm one of the main facilitators, so I'm in charge of setting people down, making sure their harnesses are good and teaching them how to do it. And I think that scouting taught me all that stuff and taught me how to be brave, because half the people go up there and they just go right back down the ladder. And they're not going to go do it.
But even giving you the fortitude to be that safety leader in that moment. Most people would shirk at that responsibility. You as an Eagle Scout embrace that opportunity. And that's what scouting teaches. At the end of the day, that's really, we could talk about the ranks, we could talk about all the different things, but you will just see a difference in people. They become more mature, more responsible. You just see people that just get it. And that's what scouting creates. It creates that. So come on out. I just saw the time and I'm over time, but come on out and do that. So thank you guys. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
And we'll see you out here soon. And again, come on out Saturday.
Daily basis beginning Saturday. The pool will be open from noon to 5:45 p.m. each day. Admission fees and pool rules can be found on the city's website or by calling Roswell City Hall. The city's 2 splash pads at Pocorn Park and Carpenter Park are awaiting some replacement parts that still need to be installed before the splash pads can be opened. The timetable for the arrival of those parts is not yet known. The equestrian community is remembering longtime New Mexico quarter horse and thoroughbred trainer Gregorio Tomas Vallejos. Vallejos passed away at his home in Dexter on May 13th. Vallejos' son, Greg, posted on social media that his dad loved what he did in horse racing, whether it was training quarter horses or thoroughbreds. Vallejos had 62 wins as a thoroughbred trainer and 132 wins as a quarter horse trainer. You're up to date. I'm Jared Cirillo.
Your home for Sean Hannity in Roswell. 106.5 Roswell's Talk FM, KEND, Roswell, New Mexico.
And we're closing in on 8 o'clock. Town Hall News up next. Stay tuned next hour. Have the folks from the Chavis County Extension Office join us. Don't go away. You're listening to Mornings with Mike Winters. Good morning.
News this hour from townhall.com. I'm Rich Thomason. This morning finds President Trump on Capitol Hill. He's lobbying lawmakers on behalf of his big, beautiful bill, hoping to win over Republicans who are skeptical of the multi-billion-dollar tax cut and spending package. Although he has voiced frustration with the lack of progress in efforts to end the war in Ukraine, the president is not giving up on the peace process.
We just spent 2.5 hours talking to Vladimir Putin, and I think some progress has been made.
Mr. Trump spoke shortly after talking with his Russian counterpart. He says Kiev and Moscow have agreed to begin ceasefire talks without delay.
The president announced the Russia-Ukraine negotiations after a 2-hour phone call with Russia's Vladimir Putin. He described the tone and spirit of the conversation as excellent. In a social media post, the president said he had a follow-up call with Ukrainian President Zelensky and several European leaders. And he noted that the Vatican has expressed interest in hosting the negotiations. Donald Trump ended his statement by saying, "Let the process begin." Greg Clugston, Washington.
The central U.S. has been slammed by another round of tornadoes after 4 days of heavy weather that left more than 24 people dead. Lonnie Nance lives in tornado-ravaged London, Kentucky.
Hey, buddy, it was just a terrible thing. I hope nobody never has to go through it. And I hope everybody's praying for all these people.
At least 4 tornadoes confirmed in Oklahoma and Nebraska last evening. Thousands lost power in several states. Many homes lie in ruins. New Jersey's top federal prosecutor charging Democratic Congresswoman LaMonica McIver with assault. This follows a skirmish with federal officers happened outside an immigration detention center in Newark, New Jersey. Wall Street, the Dow is down 75 points, NASDAQ off 117. More on these stories at townhall.com.
Here's an important message from the Diabetes Solution Center. Do you like pricking your fingers to test your blood sugar levels? No one does, but it's important to maintain your health. And now, by wearing a small remote device called a continuous glucose monitor, or CGM, you don't need to prick your fingers anymore. It's easy to use and helps you make more accurate diabetes treatment decisions. If you are testing your blood sugar 3 or more times daily, injecting insulin, or using an insulin pump, call the Diabetes Solution Center right now. And if you have Medicare or most major insurance coverage, you may be able to get a new CGM at little to no out-of-pocket cost. Shipping is free, and we'll even bill your insurance company for you. If you are testing your blood sugar 3 or more times daily, injecting insulin, or using an insulin pump, call the Diabetes Solution Center right now to learn how to end the painful finger sticks and get your own continuous glucose monitor, or CGM, at little to no out-of-pocket cost.
Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu is condemning the leaders of Britain, France, and Canada for demanding that Israel end its military offensive in Gaza. Netanyahu describes their call as a huge prize for Hamas.
The strongly worded statement by the UK, France, and Canada marks one of their most significant criticisms of Israel's handling of the Gaza war. The countries say they've always supported Israel's right to defend itself against terrorism, but call its latest military escalation wholly disproportionate, and the decision to let only a basic quantity of aid into Gaza wholly inadequate. The leaders threaten concrete actions against Israel over Gaza.
The BBC's Yolande Nell in Jerusalem. Palestinian health officials claim overnight airstrikes by Israel killed at least 60 people in the Gaza Strip. Israel is demanding the release of all hostages still being held by Hamas and has vowed to destroy the terror group. News and analysis at townhall.com. House Majority Leader Steve Scalise said Monday that Republicans are eyeing early 2027 as a target date for the new Medicaid work requirements and the large budget package intended to advance President Trump's budget agenda.
The timeline for the bill's new work requirements remains up in the air as Republican leadership continues to negotiate with warring factions on the conference over details of the One Beautiful Bill Act, which would extend Mr. Trump's tax cuts and boost his border funding priorities while reforming Medicaid and food assistance programs. The initial version of the legislation included work requirements that would take effect in 2029, but many conservatives argued that that was not soon enough. Scalise confirmed in an interview Monday that the revised version of the bill will likely see an earlier effective date. Bernie Bennett, Washington.
Investigators say the Mexican Navy tall ship that hit the Brooklyn Bridge departed less than 5 minutes before its masts crashed into the historic span. More on these stories at townhall.com.
What in the wide, wide world of sports is going on here?
I promise you, whatever scum did this, not one man in this force will rest for 1 minute until he's behind bars. Now let's grab a bite to eat. Yeah, come on.
I feel the hot wind on my shoulder and the touch of a world that is older. I hit the switch and check the number. I leave it on and then I slumber. I hear the rhythm ringing through it. Flamenco guitar and cumbia music. I hear the talking of the DJ. The travel said, what does he say? I'm on a Mexican radio. I'm on a Mexican radio.
Broadcasting live from high atop the J.P. White Building in downtown Roswell, New Mexico. It's Mornings with Mike Winters on 106.5 Roswell's Talk FM.
Is that what I sound like when I talk?
Now, here's your host, Mike Winters.
And good morning. It is 6 minutes after 8 o'clock. Welcome to hour number 2.
Deuces.
Of Mornings with Mike Winters right here on 106.5 Roswell's Talk FM. Happy Tuesday, everybody.
Welcome to it.
Graduation week for
Indeed.
high schoolers all across the Roswell land this weekend. As we'll carry all the, University High, Roswell, Goddard, all the their graduations at ksdptv.com. You can watch those. So tell all of those out-of-town friend and families that can't make the graduations that they can watch their loved ones right there graduate.
What were your post-graduation shenanigans?
Like right after graduation, they had this was back, and I don't know if they still do these, but they had the lock-ins, and so we went back to the high school.
Okay.
And they locked us in after graduation that night, and then we stayed till like 6 in the morning or whatever it was. And then they had it filled with like Burger King burgers and McDonald's and Subway, and then there was like volleyball and dancing and I think like video game playing somewhere.
You did the good thing, the good kid thing.
Well, to be honest, at that time, I was dating a girl that was a junior in high school.
I see.
And her parents gave her permission to go, so her and I went there.
Oh, you got overnight access.
And had hung out together.
And say what you will about lock-ins. I know there's supervision and chaperones, but there's a lot of empty spaces. We used to do church lock-ins, and those are a special breed of fun. You find catacombs of the church that you never knew possible.
Right.
How the second floor was like always a maze or something.
Yeah.
But I was the same way. I wasn't pursuing a girl, but I did the good kid thing. I actually went to at Roswell High, and I think it's the same at both of them. We did Project Celebration. I think the other ones do Project Graduation.
Yes.
It's a whole year-long thing where you're doing, fundraisers, you're going to meetings, you're setting up for the Project Celebration Fund, essentially. And then, it's that right after graduation. Ours was actually at the building to the pool at ENMU Roswell.
Oh, cool.
So we had that whole building. It was locked down. We had both floors. And the only thing I distinctly remember from that lock-in was that they were doing an auction. And from the auction, I got many of the items that I had up to like my mid-30s. Including a CD player, alarm clock, an Apex DVD player that worked like a charm, even though all of the covers came off. It worked for like 20 years, that thing worked.
Hey, is that green? You said alarm clock CD player. The one I had just like it was floating around this office. I'm not sure if it's still here.
Right there.
There she blows.
And yes, very similar to that, although not as bold of face. I don't want to mess up your display here.
I don't know even how it ended up there. But I've actually used it for work purposes. That's how it ended up here. No, it just never left.
It's a karaoke machine too.
Wow, nothing but the best.
I mean, for real. No, but you know what's funny is this one has the top loader. Mine, and this is a cassette, isn't it? Holy crap, this is a cassette player. This is mine now. Just so you know, this is mine. I wonder if I can make this work. This is mine.
I think I don't. Yeah, I think if you plug it in, it should work.
I'm gonna
I've
play
used
with that
it
later.
as recently as years ago.
Mine, the front face actually dropped down, and you pop the CD in like that.
Okay.
So, but that, and then like a laundry basket and some other stuff, and then the other thing was they did a Fear Factor, like type.
Oh, that was big that time. And then that,
Well,
when
2002.
you read,
Yeah, so we did like
the height of Fear Factor.
like a challenge thing where you had to like eat or drink weird stuff. And I think the one thing that that I remember consuming, I'm sure there was others, but I remember clam juice. It was the worst thing I've ever put in my mouth. And that's exactly why I punished Gabe the Babe with it on Punishment Day that time, probably 18 years ago.
Dave the Babe. Wow, that's dusted off the annals of history.
For those who haven't been with
I'm
us
sure
the
he's
whole
way
time,
more
hold on.
successful than either of us at this point in life.
Well,
he was a sharp kid.
His mom, I believe, still works at, I want to say, your wife's school.
Oh, really?
I think so. I think she works at Berindo. Because she's like, I was Gabe's
Mrs. the Babe?
I'm Gabe's mom. Yeah, Mrs. the Babe. Yes, Gabe's mom. We had this back in the Mix 106 days. We had this kid who we brought on. Originally, we brought him on to do yard work, to kind of clean up around the station.
He came. He was a high school kid.
Yeah, Gabe Flores. And I'm sure he loves us dropping his full name. But he started doing an evening, Friday night and Saturday night show.
Yeah, he used to come on and kind of like, he went from doing yard work to basically doing like intern work in the radio station.
We did. It was it Mix After Dark?
Yeah,
it was called. I think it was like it was.
Yeah, he took that over after I got tired of it.
Because we had a rock station, but Friday and Saturday nights we upped it a little bit and we played like death metal.
Right. Yeah, it was
like the hard of the hard, and that was Gabe's show for a long time. I think I eventually took over Saturday, but his moniker on the air was Gabe the Babe.
Mm-hmm.
And I distinctly remember on his MySpace page, this is how we date ourselves.
Oh, yeah, we were MySpace deep. I'll never forget when they upped your friends from 8 to like 15. That just changed everything in the spectrum.
The hierarchy was opened up. But on his Facebook page, it said, or on his MySpace page, the quote was, "G'd up from the feet up," which I always thought was hilarious.
Yeah.
But that was his punishment. Is he had to.
I think he's a teacher now.
I think
like I remember talking to him, seeing him as a grown man and everything several years ago, and back then I think he was teaching. So
nice.
Now it's been a minute since I've seen that, so I don't know if he's still teaching, but he was several years ago when I talked to him. He looked great, by the way. He was matter of factly, I remember going to a couple of his football games.
Oh,
he played for the Rocket. For Goddard. And didn't we go to his graduation too?
I believe we did. Yeah. He is a neuroscience/chemistry teacher at MAS Charter School.
There you go.
Wow.
See? He's a genius.
Good for you, Gabe. I have to hit him up and tell him he was mentioned this morning.
That's right.
On the radio.
By the way, we just put you on blast.
Yeah. By the way, we're still slumming it in the same spot we were 20 years ago.
But Gabe, he was clearly brighter and smarter than either of us combined. So
we're just standing there, just like taking a leak or whatever. I'm like,
although
some of my friends are surgeons.
Deep down, there's a deep down in the inners, I really think that you and I nurtured and just a little smidgen of where he's at today. We had just a small part.
Yeah. No, it was. It was.
I mean, it was mostly his folks and parents and everybody and all his stuff and his own self, but just a little bit of us being jocular and jovial around and hanging out. I think maybe just a little bit of showing him.
I'd like to say that Mr. Flores flowered.
There you go.
Under our tutelage.
We're just a little tiny budded.
Yeah. Glommed. We glommed that success.
Okay. Speaking of that, I'm gonna use this as one of those moments for you to maybe explain technology to me.
Okay.
That young people know that I may because you're better at this.
Okay.
And first off, it's Facebook, so
okay.
So it's already going to be our level. I just got something today, and I get these from time to time, and sometimes I'm like, okay, all right, whatever. But you know how like they like passing out badges on Facebook? You get a whatever badge for doing this or whatever. You know?
Usually it's if you interact with a page more often than the average person, you get a badge.
Well, that's what I kind of figured. But I got one this morning, and it says, because of your interaction with this person I've never heard of, seen of, or thought of, it says, because of your interaction with them, you've earned a something badge. And I'm like, I don't even know who this person is or what this is or what. Did I scroll past something? And I didn't want to click on it because I was like, where's this wormhole going to take me? So I'm just like, are they just passing them badges out for everything now? And just.
It could be that or possibly a scam. I would lean more towards, there's this one guy who, and these are notorious. I'm sure it's more than just the one.
Yeah.
But it'll have like a headline that really will catch your attention. You know, something like, scientists say this one medication could be the cure for ...
Right.
And then you click it says one comment. So you click the comments and the comment is a link.
Mm-hmm.
Never click that link.
I've done it once or twice.
Don't ever click that link. That link
not recently, but yeah.
That link is a phishing scam. That link is, as soon as you click that link, it basically locks onto your IP and it can mirror your account essentially.
Oh,
so maybe, and this is just a theory, a food theory, maybe you in clicking that link or something, maybe your page was mirrored and that mirrored account interacted with.
Maybe that's quite possible.
Hard to say.
All I know is I'm like, I don't even know who this person is because it's like your interaction with something on Van Mooster's function, and I'm like, who?
Mm-hmm. There's other ones too that always kind of catch me off guard, which is funny because depending upon your status as a human being, something that you send somebody could be looked at as, oh, it's whatever, or a scam, or this is a scam.
Yeah.
Case in point, my brother-in-law, Carletta's brother, after not talking to him for 3 years, hit me up on Facebook Messenger to see if I wanted to buy a drone. He said, I've got this drone. Would you be interested in buying it?
That smells shady as all get out.
So I'm like, well, here's the thing. I wouldn't put it past the kid to do something like this.
So there's a possibility that he's like, need money fast and trying to hawk a drone.
I know it's a scam.
Yeah.
Like, I know I know it's a scam.
Right.
But I could also see Mikey pulling something off like this. You know what I'm saying?
How did you acquire said drone?
It fell off a truck. Don't ask questions. Hey, you want this drone?
Right. Fell out the sky.
Landed in my lap in a box.
Yep.
But yeah, so depending upon your status in life, if somebody that gets a Facebook message from you and it looks scammy,
yeah,
it could just be somebody trying to get some some cash for the weekend.
Yeah, this is true. Hey, speaking of Facebook, this is gonna make people mad, but I saw a product on my Facebook page that I shared on my Facebook page.
Okay.
I can't really talk about said product on the radio, but it's funny and punny, and I legit want this product.
All right, let's go to the mic.
Please don't say anything. Just watch and
I'll observe. I'm just gonna. Okay. Oh, so I have seen this. It's basically you can say this. It is a corn holder.
Yeah, it's a corn buttering device.
It's a device for buttering your corn.
Yes.
And yeah, I've seen that advertised around before, and
I kind of want one.
Yeah, but now let me put it to you like this. Imagine the cleanup scenario afterwards.
I throw in the dishwasher.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I didn't think about that. My thought was, picture yourself outside of yourself, like watching you standing at a sink cleaning this thing. Exactly. It's the same reason I've never bought other devices, because
to be honest, you're not dissuading me. The more I see that, like, how funny is that?
Because I will say something like that does look like it's hand wash only. There might be some melting happening if you dishwash it.
I am a rebel. I disregard. It says hand wash, it goes in the dishwasher. I don't care.
Yeah.
That's how I roll. I've ruined many a cookware set. I don't care. I'm throwing the dishwasher.
Now, I think
if this thing's so dang sensitive that some hot water in a machine makes it bad, then it's a bad product.
Now, I think enough time has passed in us describing what it is that we can just say it is essentially a fist. A hand. That's all we're going to say. Enough
But-
time has passed that you can connect A and B and make sense of
All I'm saying is, I would like one of those products.
it. You know?
If nothing, I mean, I'm not even if it's to use once to see what's going on with the thing, but I pull back the curtain.
Uh-huh.
And all the shtick, all the jokes aside, one of the top things that kind of gets on my nerves sometimes is legit trying to balance butter on a fork and trying to run it through the corn without getting everything else all botched up.
Fair.
So this actually corrects
Now I'm
an
going
issue
to,
I legit have.
I'm going to save you some time and money.
Yes.
Buy a box of rubber gloves because you can do the same thing by taking a handful of softened butter and applying it to your corn cob. You can also have fun with your family in that way and then toss the glove out. No butter on hands, perfectly buttered cob of corn.
Problem is the gloves smell funny. I don't want that my corn smell like them gloves.
The way the gloves smell depend completely on where you buy them. If you go to like Shamrock, get food grade gloves, I'm sure you'll be fine. Now we're talking about glove scent.
I'm sorry, I'm weird.
This is where we go with this.
I'm weird like that.
You know what?
Like,
go nuts. Get your oversized fist.
I know what I want when I want it. If people dissuade me, I'm like, no, this seems like a practical, just fine instrument that every American should have in their home.
Yeah, I just feel like in 4 to 6 weeks we're gonna have an issue where there's gonna be a closed door and Kim's gonna walk up and go away, buttering.
Sorry. About 6 people got that.
Yeah.
Something takes a part of me. 7 more people just got it now. Is our guest here? Please.
Yes.
Good.
Are you tapping out?
Yeah. I'm out. Dealer.
There it is.
All right. Very good. Let me give you the rundown for this hour of the show. We'll get you up to date with the weather here in just a bit. Warm. That's what I got for you. Warm. It's going to warm and warm more as the week progresses.
There you go.
Then shortly thereafter, we'll have the folks from the Chaves County Extension Office join us, give us an update on what's happening there as we delve into fair season. I mean, like I said, we got caps and gowns this weekend, and right after that, start thinking hard about the fair stuff. So we'll talk, get an update from them. Later on the hour, we'll get you up to date with news of the local variety, your Wall Street business update, and whatever else we can come up with for this hour of the show. But first, your weather.
Weather this hour brought to you by Southwest Bearing under new ownership. Custom solutions for your heavy equipment. Hydraulic hoses, hose repair, bearings, seals, sprockets, belts, tools, fluids, and fittings.
I'm meteorologist Steve Hamilton with your Pecos Valley weather. Pretty warm today, but the wind should stay fairly light, maybe a little breezy, sunny, and we're headed for the mid-80s. Overnight, low 50s and clear, and then we start a little warming trend on Wednesday. We'll be in the low to mid-90s, and we get sunshine. Sunny again on Thursday. We'll be staying in the mid-90s. Then we start to get into the upper 90s with sunshine on Friday. That's your latest forecast. I'm meteorologist Steve Hamilton.
Thank you, Steve. Currently 59 degrees here in Roswell. Humidity is at 26%. Winds currently out of the northeast at 7 miles per hour. For today, the winds not so much. 5 to 10 is what they're telling us today. Sunny, mid-80s. So this is a really nice day. Sunny, mid-80s, light winds, 5 to 10. Perfect. Mostly clear tonight. Overnight low of 53. Winds out of the south, 5 to 10 miles per hour. For your Wednesday, we will be sunny, highs around 92, so low 90s tomorrow. Winds will be out of the south at around 5 miles per hour. Clear tomorrow night, overnight low of 57, southeast winds at around 5 miles per hour. And then Thursday, we're starting to get into the hot status. Sunny and 97 for Thursday, west winds 5 to 10 miles per hour. Mostly clear Thursday night, overnight low of 66. Friday, sunny and hot. Got a Wayne Gretzky for you. High of 99, which means it'll be 100 here on Friday. Friday night, partly cloudy. Overnight low of 63 degrees. Saturday, sunny, hot once again, 98. Expected high for Saturday. Saturday night, partly cloudy, Night low of 60. Sunday, sunny and 91, so a little cooler after I think all the graduations are done. And then Sunday night, partly cloudy, overnight low of 60. And then, just to make people slightly nervous, for Memorial Day on Monday of next week, they're expecting they're calling for a 20% chance of showers and thunderstorms. Otherwise, mostly sunny and 82. So, I like that temp. We'll see. 20%. We'll see if that grows or shrinks. But anyway, but it looks like graduation going to be hot. Might want to, I don't know, wear very light clothing under those caps and gowns for the weekend, and hydrate. But no talk of rain. So I think all the graduations will be outdoors, and you don't have to play the, all right, we're going to make family mad. Who's the cutoff? That we got to go down from 60 to 6. Who gets cut off? So you don't have to play that game. So I think we'll be good there. All right, 8:25. We're going to take a 3-minute break here, and then we'll have the folks from the Chaves County Extension Office join us. Don't go away. You're listening to Mornings with Mike Winters.
How do you find a roofing contractor you can trust? You can randomly pick one, cross your fingers and hope for the best, or maybe you can ask a psychic to predict who's trustworthy. Here's a better idea. Choose one who prefers using America's most trusted roofing brand, Owens Corning. And rest easy, because Owens Corning screens their contractors for reliability, professionalism, and customer service. Why take any chances? Owens Corning, trusted contractors, proven products. For an Owens Corning preferred contractor, visit owenscorning.com/roofing.
For a free estimate, give Do Right Roofing a call today. 575-623-2273.
Find them fast in names and numbers.
Spring has sprung, so it's time to move on into the Calico Cow Fabric and Gift Shop in Roswell. Now the Cow is an authorized handy quilter long-arm dealer. Spring fabrics are here and summer fabrics are arriving daily, plus quilts, shirts, and rope bowls made right here at the Calico Cow. Brother sewing machines with warranties are also on sale. Plus, the Calico Cow can fix and perform maintenance on all brands. Log on to RoswellQuilting.com. Spring into the Calico Cow Fabric and Gift Shop, 200 East College in Roswell. Want to know how? Come see the cow.
Hey, Roswell, during these unprecedented times when others are raising prices, Roswell Ford is lowering ours with employee pricing for everyone. So you pay what we pay. Only at Roswell Ford. Make no payments for 90 days. Upside down in your current vehicle and want out early? Roswell Ford can help you get out of your trade, even if you owe thousands more than it's worth, regardless of make, miles, or condition. So you can pay what we pay today with employee pricing to all customers on new Ford cars, trucks, and SUVs. And our aggressive finance team will push to approve your credit, even if it's less than perfect. Attention business owners, Roswell Ford has a great selection of commercial vehicles, and we have them for less. Plus, Roswell Ford offers mobile services, so our certified technicians will come to you and perform oil changes, tire rotations, batteries, recalls, and more. Contact us for details. For massive American-made savings and employee pricing for everyone. Get on board at Roswell Ford, 821 North Main Street in beautiful Roswell. Call 575-623-3673 or online at roswellford.com. Interest accrues from date of sale on select vehicles. Trade balance refinanced to new loan subject to lender approval. Offers not combined. Expires in month's end.
If you're missing a tooth or several teeth, a dental implant may be the ultimate solution. Implants look and feel so much like real teeth that you probably forget you have an implant. Maupin & Brown Dentistry is one of New Mexico's most experienced implant providers, with literally thousands of implant patients who are absolutely delighted with the results. Call Maupin & Brown today for an evaluation. You'll be surprised how affordable implants can be. Maupin & Brown, your choice for experienced, state-of-the-art dentistry.
Looking to start, continue, or complete your higher education journey? Join the more than 5,700 current Greyhounds on their journey to student success. Eastern New Mexico University offers the most affordable higher education degree in the Southwest, and New Mexico residents can go to school tuition-free with the New Mexico Opportunity Scholarship. With online or in-person degrees, ENMU is the right choice for you. For more information, visit enmu.edu. ENMU, student success, that's what we're about.
Mulan has the highest kill count of any Disney character. When asked for comment, Buzz Lightyear responded, "To infinity and beyond." Here's Mike Winters.
And good morning. It is 29 minutes after 8 o'clock, and joining us in studio this morning from the Chaves County Extension Office, Tamara Schubert and Katie Wright back with us. Good morning, ladies.
Good morning.
In unison and everything. Check you
We
out.
tried really hard, Mike.
And brought a guest with you today,
We
an intern that's
did.
going to spend about a month or so with you guys here. I was going to do the joke, but I won't. Zenaida joining us here. I was going to do the Zendaya. Good morning, Zenaida. How are you today?
Good morning.
We
Good
had a
evening.
whole conversation about her name, so we had some fun there. So, of course, the thing that, now that graduations this week and things like that, I guess you guys, 4-H fair, that's kind of like, this is like that time of year for you guys, right? That's kind of all hands on deck. Even on the home ec side, kind of the things you do, Tamara, kind of, all right, we're shifting to 4-H and cooking and that, the
We
fair
have a
stuff.
few other programs that are going on this summer, but fair and youth are definitely our big one as school gets out.
Absolutely. So please, if you're wanting to get all this, now's the time to get. But I'm also getting, really, this isn't kind of sign-up season for 4-H, but this is kind of advertising 4-H.
Yeah.
Like, this is the biggest stage that 4-H usually gets is this time of year.
So we always welcome new friends, but our participation or competition deadline for the year has passed. So you're
Gotcha.
welcome to join us and get a feel for it for next
Sure.
year. But really just come out, support our kids. So we've got county fair, Eastern fair, state fair, all the good stuff, indoor exhibits, livestock. It's wild.
Yeah. and this is the thing, too, that, yes, the Eastern New Mexico State Fair, that one kind of advertises itself. We get tons of folks and coming out here. But this summer, when the Chavez County Fair comes out, no, they don't have the carnival rides and things, but the rest of it's the fair, So if you want the food, you want the shopping, all the things like that a lot of it's out there, but it really is the focus on what's going on in the livestock ring and what's going on in the education building, and that's where all the entertainment is. And so, like, if you go to the Eastern New Mexico State Fair and you just go and ride the rides and stuff and miss those shows, and I get it, it's busy sometimes, you don't have, the Chavez County Fair gives you just an ample opportunity. If you've never seen a livestock show, if you've never seen how that works, if you've never participated in an auction at the end of the fair, that's a great one to learn all, because that's really all the focus and attention is on that. There's not as many distractions with, where can I get a chicken leg or whatever it is, which, don't get me wrong, those are good distractions, but and there's still some of that at this fair too, but this really is where the fair has always been a focus on the kids. The Chavez County Fair, there really isn't any other spotlight other than what's on the
And these are the local kids.
Yes.
These are your kids here in Roswell, in Dexter, in Hagerman, in Lake Arthur, and you can see all of their hard work. There are qualification levels to go on to state and Eastern Fair, so you're not getting to appreciate everybody and all they're doing at those others. They're fun. They're great. You should go to those too. But man, the Chavez County Fair is where you support our local kids doing awesome things.
And you really get to, and this is, I didn't grow up farm life. I grew up in D.C. So, I know where my food comes from, and I'm not that dumb. But
Mike, chocolate milk doesn't come from a brown cow.
No, it's the brown and white ones. Everyone knows that.
We'll be back for an ag literacy segment.
All right, Zenaida, this is what we can fix, okay?
Your next project.
but I don't have a lot of knowledge about raising livestock and farm animals and those types of things, and so for me, I go to watch the fair, and I'm impressed, because what happens is you're seeing, especially kids that are barely coming up to your waist, some of these, those early younger 4-Hers, they're really handling things that are way bigger than them, and they're doing it with a professionalism and a skill that is very impressive. And that blows me, it blows me away every single time I see some 9-year-old boy or girl and they're handling a 800-pound steer.
Yep.
And they don't get there overnight.
Yeah.
That is months and months of hard work and time spent in the barn.
Yeah.
Yep.
And so that's where I come to feel like, man, that's impressive. It's because, especially from someone who comes really just completely void of knowledge of how to do these things. It impressive. I'm just like, wow, that is so impressive. I don't know if I could have done what that child's doing had I been that child's age, and now don't get me wrong, it's a lot of fun too, because I don't care what anybody says. You want the cheapest fun you could ever have, just hang out for the swine show. Just go. You don't even need to get tickets. Just find out when the swine show is. Get you a seat, because that's going to be the funnest hours of show you've ever had. Because the kids, and you get all the above, the kids and the hard work and all that. But pigs do what pigs want to do, and so there's a lot of kids running around with boards trying to wrangle pigs around. And it's just fun to watch. It's like the same reason why we watch like when they show the little kids play hockey in between periods and falling around the ice and their football. Same thing's going on here in the farm world. It's so
Pigs
much
have
fun.
a lot of personality, and they can get stubborn or sassy real quick.
Yeah, and I'm like, oh, this is gonna be fun. Get some popcorn. Just sit back, get you Coke and a popcorn.
Popcorn and pigs.
Yeah.
New program.
And it is one of the most fun things. So yes, when the Chaves County Fair rolls around here in July. And please don't just watch the shows on, because we'll be carrying them like we do every year on KSVP TV. We'll have our Chaves County Fair channel. So please, all you grandmas and grandpas and aunts and uncles and everybody who live out of town, root your kids on. It's for the fair. But if you get a chance, when that week's going on, even if it's like, hey, take your lunch hour out there, go and support some of the food things. 4-H sells some great ice cream. I imagine you stock up on while you're there for dessert. And then go check out a livestock show or do something like that. Just go out there. It's not like the Eastern Fair where you have to pay fees to get in and all. You really just roll in, walk up to the livestock ring and catch a seat. So it really is that easy.
So that they can mark their calendars. The county horse show is going to start on July the 19th.
Okay.
And then the shows will take place starting on July 21st.
Very good. And then one thing we always want to, and we'll talk more about it as we get closer to the event, but the big point of the week will be the junior livestock auction on the last day of the fair there. And,
on the 25th.
And that is where the kids that do win the various categories here get an option to sell the animal. And how this works is that money, depending on their age, if they're a little older, this is going towards college, things like that. But if they're 8, 9, this is going towards their next project, their next thing. So it's always cool to see because people will spend way more money than what the market value for said animal is to support these kids, and it's really cool. And it gets competitive and gets fun. And we ain't gonna lie, folks in Chaves County trying to beat the folks in Eddy County and vice versa on who can raise more money, and it's always fun and game, and they always try to outdo each other every year. And I think some years you guys win, some years they win. It all kind of comes out in the wash.
It's all about the kids. It's all about
Even
the kids.
if you are not wanting to buy an animal, it is an incredible thing to watch.
Yeah.
And just be there and support. It's so much fun. It's entertaining.
And you can get in on stuff too. Like a lot of people, like I can't afford thousands of dollars for one of these animals, but everyone's like, I'll chip in $50. And because at the end of the day, it's about the kids, and it's to support them and to show, because I don't care who you are, where you come from, what your background is, you better support every one of those kids because they're going to be the ones feeding you and your family for the next generation, and they're going to have more mouths to feed and less resources to do it. So whatever we can do to support them, this is what we got to do.
Absolutely.
So get your butt out to the fair and go check out a show. See, I went real philosophical there and going back.
Right back. Okay, Mike, I'm going to change it on you. So while we're waiting for fair, we are still having 4-H Day at the library.
Excellent.
So we will be in Hagerman tomorrow afternoon doing some leather craft.
All right.
And then in June, we're going to take a look at wildlife. And we will be staying with the Roswell Library all summer this year.
For the summer reading program and everything?
Yes,
Perfect.
sir. So I believe that is the second Tuesday.
Second Wednesday.
Second Wednesday.
Good deal.
And in Roswell, and then we'll see what Hagerman looks like for the summer and let you guys know.
Excellent. But stay tuned. Summer or programs, the library programs will continue throughout the summer in some way, shape, or form, both at Roswell and Hagerman libraries
And
this summer.
they don't have to be enrolled in 4-H to come see us at the library. Come taste it, figure out what it's all about.
Yeah.
Take a look, see,
Well,
hang
that's
out.
the whole point is you come see, and this is the big, hey, do you like this? Well, this is kind of what we do in 4-H. Come check it out. So.
Yes.
And of course, I'm going to assume the Master Gardeners are going to continue their stuff at the library each month too. Here,
I believe so.
They also they each get a weekend there where sometimes it's the Master Gardeners, and they're talking about they give you all the great useful tips on planting gardens or making your grass look good or anything. Basically, they know a lot about stuff that we pretend to know about, and they kind of infuse that into you. And then if you want stuff more family with the kids, and come out to the 4-H weekends and take part of the projects that are there each month. Usually you either get fed or you get to take home stuff. Each one's kind of unique to each one.
Yes.
What about for extension clubs and some of the stuff going on the home ec side?
Yeah, so our extension clubs have a couple of other trainings left this year. So we've got one coming up on June the 5th at 5:30. They're going to be holding or hosting a training on freeze drying.
Nice.
So that's one of the things that's new over the last, 5 years?
Well, you
so
see the
this is
cost
your
of food and cost of things, and so buying in bulk and preserving and stuff. So this might be some good information to help you do those kinds of
You've
things.
got the kids home for summer, and snacks are expensive.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Now, maybe we can do this is, again, where I grew up. Because the Amish, they like to put things in jars, from meats to veggies to everything else. Maybe we ought to have. Now, I ain't going to lie. I've never tried said meat out of their jar, but they swear by it.
So canning is really popular.
Yeah.
Freeze drying has become extremely popular because
Sure.
it's a great way to
That seems more
preserve.
preserve
Yeah.
friendly to me, but I don't know. It seems more. But I'm guessing certain foods you can and cannot do that to, right?
On one end.
Freeze drying.
It depends, right? Everything comes out a little bit different,
Sure.
but I've seen them do some weird things.
Okay.
Isn't that how they
I
make
say
astronaut
weird.
ice cream?
But I've
Right?
seen them do. So I've seen them do milk. You laugh. You can do eggs. You can do bread. You can do. I saw Jell-O done the other day.
That would be fun.
Interesting. I will tell you this. You said something that I'm going to just throw the tip out. If you ever go to Washington, D.C., and you go to the Air and Space Museum there, you have not done it right unless you got astronaut ice cream out of the gift shop there.
You can get astronaut ice cream at the Space Museum in Alamogordo.
I have had it there, yeah. And by the way, separate the flavors. You know, the Neapolitan I appreciate, but I don't like the strawberry. Just give me a whole thing of those chocolate ones, please, and we'll call it good. Anyway, sorry.
So note to self,
Right.
freeze dry Mike, chocolate ice cream.
Yeah, and that's the cool part is with the extension clubs, you get to learn these things, and putting a pitch in for extension club, the thing we always kind of call it is 4-H for adults. That's kind of the unofficial what it is. And so if you have an interest or a passion or a hobby, maybe let's talk about find some other people who do, and we'll start an extension club about it here. You know, like what's some of the active clubs that are kind of on the regular right now?
So we have 4 clubs within Travis County that are going strong right now. One of them is focused on quilting.
Okay.
They meet one Saturday a month. Our other clubs are kind of open. They're
Okay.
craft clubs, so
All right.
their
It's a
activities could
hodgepodge
change.
of just whatever we feel like making that week.
All of our clubs in general are great with community service. They do the Books for Newborns programs
Okay.
at the hospitals. They make nursing cover-ups for the hospitals.
Nice. So they can do a lot of outreach as well as
They
just
do,
having them at their
absolutely.
interest. Cool.
Yeah. So we've got a couple of new ones that are looking at coming up next year
Okay.
as we get our move taken care of this year to oversee
That's right.
the new facility.
Next
So-
year is the new building, right?
Yes.
Like, have y'all licked claims offices and all that?
I think it was assigned.
we did get to go in the other day
Alright.
and kind of look at some things. So they should finish up with the new building towards August.
Okay.
So we're really hoping that kind of after fair season, hopefully
fair.
we can
But
get
yeah, by the time-
transitioned over.
Well, it probably right in between the county fairs and right before the Eastern New Mexico State Fairs.
Yes.
And maybe the
in between state fair.
Yeah, in between state
and the
fair.
air races.
Oh,
And
yeah. We had a few more wrinkles this year
Yeah.
too. So that'll be exciting. Finally, because we've been talking about this for years now. It's kind of neat to.
It's coming to fruition.
Drew didn't show up today, so don't forget to design various pranks to his desks and things before he moves in. You know, but yeah.
Okay, you got it.
I would have said something about one of y'all if you didn't show up either. Speaking of Drew, is there anything on the ag side that we need to put on people's radar?
so most of what Drew's got going on right now required some pre-enrollments, and so Summer's very busy on his end too, doing
Okay.
house calls, things like that. He will be doing our training in September for our urban winter gardening.
Gotcha.
For the extension clubs, but he's
Okay.
got youth ranch management camp and stuff like that coming up this summer.
Yeah, Drew has a lot of, and when he's not hosting these things, he has to go and participate in these things to learn about the things to host those things. So Drew spends a lot of time in symposiums and things. I feel, those kind of events and stuff, doesn't he?
Well, he is great. He spends a lot of time out with our farmers and our ranchers answering questions, things like that.
But what I mean is he you know what I'm saying? He's of all of you, he's the one that has to go out and do a lot of, go places to learn things.
Ag is a constantly changing industry, and we are always evolving. So
it's all science.
It is
really
science.
I mean, everything when it comes to farming and ranching is science. This to do this begats this, and you got to find the best way to do this to begat this. So whether it's a
and then
cow
surprise,
or a
there's
corn.
a new something.
Exactly. And then they spawn off into this thing. It's like, oh, that corn tastes different. That's a blah blah corn with a hint of whatever this is over here. These are scientific terms. But yeah, and so but that makes sense that he has to do it. And by the way, if you have any kind of questions in terms of that stuff, don't hesitate to call the extension office and put it on Drew's radar. If he can't answer it directly, he will hunt down the source to get you that answer. That's what he does. And of course, if you have any stuff with, like, if you need your pesticide licensing and all that kind of stuff, Drew can handle all that.
And those will be coming up typically in November.
Gotcha. Very good. As far as like you with the fair stuff and all that, but what's like to sign up right now? It like obviously they can't start in competitions thing, but will they kind of like shadow? Like say, okay, well, this is how they raise it. Go hang out with this person.
They are absolutely welcome to go ahead and join. Find a club that fits you. Attend workshops. Learn all the goodies. Really, the only limit is that they can't compete until the next enrollment season. So absolutely join us. There's no reason not to.
If you're one that likes information and likes to know what you're getting into, getting in early now and kind of being on the sidelines and watching it will better prepare you for being involved next year. By the way, too, if you're interested in 4-H but have no interest, desire, or anything to do with farming or ranching, there is a whole world of 4-H that has nothing to do with cows or chickens or dirt. They talk about computers. They talk about shooting sports. They discuss all of its parliamentary procedure and things that are valuable skill sets for whatever you do as adults. Yes, 4-H is very much in farming and ranching, and it is the fabric of that the community. But 4-H also is a whole world that has nothing to do with any of that. And either way, you're deeply involved and you can benefit from many of the opportunities 4-H can provide.
Absolutely.
As far as age groups, kind of give folks a little rundown of when they can start and how long it lasts and all that good stuff.
Yeah, so our typical enrollment is about 5 to 18. That depends on when your birthday falls in the year and all that good stuff.
Kind of like school.
Yes, exactly. But we also have Cloverbud programming for our littles, which is very similar to being a regular 4-H member, but we're not going to compete. We're all just going to do a great job and get a purple ribbon and get along.
Absolutely. Yeah. Good deal. And this is the thing. It's a great opportunity for kids to do, and this is, when you raise a child, we all know, you send them to school and things, but you're trying to expose as much stuff to them, throw as much, see what they like, what's their place in the world, things like that, and opportunities like 4-H gives families that opportunity. And the beauty of it is, you try it out, and you're like, well, turns out they're not into that. No biggie. Now we're not invested fully. Let's pivot to another interest here. So you can go into 4-H and be like, you know what? I thought they were going to like shooting sports. Turns out not their thing, but they really are getting into or maybe they're like, you know what? They kind of do like, they want to raise an animal. They want to, this is what 4-H is about. It's a chance for children and young adults to kind of figure out what they want in their world and what they like and don't like. And so parents, give your kids an opportunity through this and through this. That's why these organizations have been around for so long and they're so great. And I'm just I don't know stats or numbers, but I'm going to take a look at, if you see people that have been successful in the world and things like that, or people that were involved in 4-H, you look at their percent, and most of them go on to do very beautiful, productive things because of what 4-H Foundation provided for them.
Absolutely.
That's what it's about. Seeing the time, anything in the extension side that we didn't cover, we want to make sure we put on people's radar. Anything we missed? Or
I think that's it. Well, That's an always thing. So crafting for your mental health is one of those reoccurring programs that we have, again, in Hagerman and Roswell.
Excellent.
So we're in Hagerman tomorrow at the Joy Center at noon.
Okay.
And then the third Thursday of the month, we're in Roswell at the Senior Circle.
Excellent. And so you can come by and just pop on in, and if you want to do some crafts and stuff, and use, and like you said, where you kind of clear your head, kind of think of it as you're like, well, I suck at Tai Chi and stretching, but I can work on some crafts and things like that. Things to center yourself, get things, remind you of the big picture and all that. It's easy, and in the world we live in, where you get on your phone and spend 5 minutes, you're mad. You get over, turn on the TV, spend 5 minutes, you're mad. It's easy to get mad. Sometimes you need to say, you know what, let's make some origami. Whatever it is, It's kind of like the coloring books. I don't know if it's still a thing, but there was a thing there where like coloring books were for adults, and it was very popular. I don't know if it's still a thing, but
Mike, I keep a word search in my pickup.
Nice. Yeah. There was a time in my life where I bought the crossword puzzles and words. Oh my gosh, now everything's digital. But every once in a while, like just this weekend, they had a Sudoku one, and my wife always does Sudoku on the phone. It's like, hey Ken, there's a Sudoku one. You want old school with a pencil or something? Take me up on that offer. But anyway, are you going to join us next time, Zanita? Because I want to give folks you're from Hagerman. So tell folks a little bit about yourself.
I'm from Hagerman.
Yeah.
I graduated from Dexter High School, though.
Congratulations.
Thank you. And this May I graduated from NMSU with
Awesome.
my Bachelor of Science in Agriculture.
Nice. Excellent. Go Aggies.
Yeah.
Very cool. So what's your goals? What are you pursuing now?
Well, after this internship. I plan to get my master's while working too, and once I get that, hopefully find a position with wildland fire communications.
So you want to be like the people at the tent coordinate and everything, and not the one in the fire part.
She's going to be the one that makes us look good, Mike.
I was going to say smart. I'm not saying this is what thinking does. Like, I'd rather be here than in there. Are you an outdoorsy type person? Do you love being outdoors?
I do.
Do you like to camp and things? And
yes. Last summer I had an internship with the Forest Service, and we were outside doing research with wildland fuels after large wildfires.
Nice, cool, a good deal. So now I'm gonna guess because of your nature of your work, you're probably gonna stay around this area.
Yes.
Not a lot of demand for wildlife fires in New York City. No. So I'm going to take the family's happy. Like, oh, she's going to stay close.
Well, it depends where the fire's, because up north in like Minnesota, they're on fire right now.
I feel like a Minnesota fire is not as hot as a New Mexico fire. I know it's completely.
It's because New Mexico's hot anyways.
Right. I feel like their fire is like, oh, just throw some snow on it. Just making a joke. I'm not that dumb.
I'm not great at math, Mike.
That's right. Well, good. Well, congratulations, and it sounds like everything's going great for you here. Anybody want to say hi to? Any family, friends? Anybody like that?
My mom and
Love
my dad.
interest? Anything like that?
Oh, putting her on the spot.
Any of that? Just mom and dad.
And my sister.
And your sister. Good. Yeah, they cover them. Mom will give you a hard time if you forget mom. Good. Ladies, anything else we wanted to mention when we just got sidebarred on?
I don't think that's it.
There we got it. Good deal. All right. Of course, if you have any questions about anything we talked about here or want more information, you can always call the Chavez County Extension Office. What's that number they need to call?
622-3210.
And, of course, you can come to the office. It's not in the new one yet.
Not yet.
Still at 200 East Chisholm.
Suite 4.
Suite 4. There it is. Soon to be
somewhere else.
In a different place.
Yes, across the street.
Yeah, not there yet. So, but and of course, if you have any questions about anything, or by the way, too, we're kind of not in sign-up season for the diabetes classes and all that. But if you recently got diagnosed with some of that stuff and looking for resources, the Extension office can help set the table for you. And, of course, set the table to get you to sign up for when the classes do start up again here.
Absolutely.
After, I guess it'd probably be around the first of the year and all that time frame and all again. So, good deal. Well, thank you, ladies. Welcome. And enjoy your internship. If I see you next month and I'll see if you're this happy, I'm like, ooh, what'd they do to her? Just kidding. But welcome and thank you guys. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right, 8:54. Let's pause for news and sports and Red Apple Report. Don't go away.
With your Pecos Valley news updates, I'm Jared Sorello. The outdoor pool at the Roswell Recreation and Aquatic Center will open on a daily basis beginning Saturday. The pool will be open from noon to 5:45 p.m. each day. Admission fees and pool rules can be found on the city's website or by calling Roswell City Hall. The city's 2 splash pads at Pocorn Park and Carpenter Park are awaiting some replacement parts that still need to be installed before the splash pads can be opened. The timetable for the arrival of those parts is not yet known. The equestrian community is remembering longtime New Mexico quarter horse and thoroughbred trainer Gregorio Tomas Vallejos. Vallejos passed away at his home in Dexter on May 13th. Vallejos' son, Greg, posted on social media that his dad loved what he did in horse racing, whether it was training quarter horses or thoroughbreds. Vallejos had 62 wins as a thoroughbred trainer and 132 wins as a quarter horse trainer. You're up to date. I'm Jared Sorello.
It's time for the Chaffetz County Sports Report. Yesterday told you about NMMI winning their baseball championship. That's a great job by the Colts. There are several other teams, 3 of them, in fact, from Chaffetz County that got pretty close. For instance, Gateway Christian Class 1A made it to the championship game before falling to Magdalena, the top seed, by a score of 7-3. Gateway finishes 15-5. Dexter, top seed in Class 3A softball, loses to Cobre by a score of 5-4. Dexter finishes 26-4, but they just could not get over Cobre. Cobre also beat them 2-1 in 8 innings earlier at the state tournament. And how about Goddard in 4A baseball making it to the state semifinals? Goddard just couldn't solve Artesia pitcher Jack Byers on Friday, losing to Artesia 2-0. Goddard finishes 14-15, but makes it to the state semis. The Sports Report brought to you by DSI. Call DSI for all your office technology needs. I'm Eric Butler at Roswell's Talk FM 106.5.
I'm meteorologist Steve Hamilton with your Pecos Valley weather. Pretty warm today, but the wind should stay fairly light, maybe a little breezy, sunny, and we're headed for the mid-80s. Overnight, low 50s and clear, and then we start a little warming trend on Wednesday. We'll be in the low to mid-90s, and we get sunshine. Sunny again on Thursday. We'll be staying in the mid-90s. Then we start to get into the upper 90s with sunshine on Friday. That's your latest forecast. I'm meteorologist Steve Hamilton.
All across America, this is the Red Apple Audio Network's Market Report.
Stocks will open after averages were barely changed yesterday. Markets are waiting for clarity on tariffs and on the Republican tax and spending plan. Jamie Dimon, veteran chairman of J.P. Morgan Chase, was very concerned about the economy at the annual investors meeting. He said his view is that we have not seen the full effect of tariffs yet, and we have huge deficits the Federal Reserve and others think they can manage, but he said, I don't think they can. Jamie Dimon said stocks could fall 10% again after they came back up by 10%. Mortgage rates rose back over 7% yesterday. Mark Cuban says his new $750 million fund to invest in sports teams of all leagues will succeed because he says he can move quickly, he has access to teams, and he'll help teams come up with new strategies for sports-related businesses. Cuban says it's no secret that sports valuations are booming, but ticket prices for families have risen too. Target will start opening stores outside of big cities. Today and tomorrow, big popular companies Home Depot, Lowe's, and Target will report their earnings and their outlooks on customer spending. With business, I'm Joe Connolly.
This is the Red Apple Audio Network's Market Report.
Life insurers put life into the things you live for. The new factory that's hiring your neighbors. Maintenance on the bridge that keeps traffic flowing. The paycheck that puts pizza night on the table. Life insurers contribute $8 trillion to communities and local economies through bond purchases and other investments, and protect the financial security of 90 million American families, like yours. See how life insurers put life into America at acli.com. Paid for by the American Council of Life Insurers.
The great one, Mark Levin, is now in Roswell on 106.5 KEND Roswell.
And we're closing in on 9 o'clock. Stay tuned next hour. We're going to replay our interview we had with the ladies from the Chaves County Federated Republican Women, talking about their next meeting, which is tomorrow at the Elks Lodge. So we'll play that for you next hour. Don't go away. You're listening to Mornings with Mike Winters. We'll be back on the other side of news. Thanks for listening. Have a good morning, everybody.
News this hour from townhall.com. I'm Rich Thomason. This morning finds President Trump on Capitol Hill. He's urging every member of the House Republican majority to get behind his big, beautiful bill. The president says the bill, while trimming spending, will not jeopardize Medicare and Medicaid.
We're not touching anything. All I want is one thing. 3 words. We don't want any waste, fraud, or abuse. Very simple.
The president says it's the Democrats who will destroy important benefits programs through out-of-control, wasteful spending. More heavy weather has pounded the country's midsection. 4 tornadoes confirmed last evening in Oklahoma and Nebraska. Elsewhere, storm victims trying to salvage whatever they can in the aftermath of powerful storms several days ago.
Severe weather did the most damage in Kentucky. Residents around the town of London are trying to clean up 3 days after a storm hit the bluegrass state. London's airport is a beehive of activity. Residents there are picking up water, food, diapers, and other supplies.
Correspondent Andrew Stewart. President Trump continues to press for a ceasefire in Ukraine.
After speaking with Russia's Vladimir Putin for about 2 hours, President Trump announced the agreement to start talks toward a ceasefire and eventual end to the war. He also had a call with Ukrainian President Zelensky and several European leaders. In a statement posted online, the president mentioned that the Vatican is open to hosting the ceasefire negotiations.
White House correspondent Greg Clugston. In Louisiana, an Orleans Parish Sheriff's Office employee is under arrest in connection with Friday's escape of 10 inmates. The Louisiana Attorney General's office confirms the arrest, but does not identify the person or detail any possible charges in the case. Watching Wall Street this morning, the Dow is down 47 points, and NASDAQ is off 71. More on these stories at townhall.com.
Everybody wants cheap airfare, but where do you find it? You call low-cost airlines. Their prices are direct from the airlines, and they're so low you can't find these fares published anywhere. They specialize in cheap flights, discount hotel rooms, cheap car rental rates, and great package deals anywhere around the world. Wherever you want to go, they can help you get there cheaply and with a best price guarantee. If you want the lowest prices on your airline tickets or other travel services, call now. That's right, call. That's the only way to get these rates. Experts are standing by 24/7 to get you the cheapest airfare and hotel rates available. So don't wait. Call right now for the lowest travel prices anywhere and for great last-minute travel deals, too.
Call 866-755-5300. That's 866-755-5300. Again, that's 866-755-5300. Call us right now.
Israel faces growing international pressure to allow more aid into Gaza, even as its anti-terrorism offensive targeting Hamas continues.
Trucks carrying aid are seen on Tuesday morning on the Israeli side of the Kerem Shalom crossing before they're expected to head into Gaza after officials said they would allow some aid in. Global experts are warning of famine in Gaza as a result of the Israeli blockade. Israel cut off all food, medicine and other supplies to the territory to pressure Hamas over ceasefire terms and to hand over the remaining hostages. Now Israel says it doesn't want a starvation crisis jeopardizing its new military offensive in the territory of over 2 million Palestinians. Officials say the first trucks carrying aid, including baby food, entered the territory on Monday via the Kerem Shalom crossing. I'm Charles Dilladesma.
News and analysis at townhall.com. 23andMe has a new owner.
Regeneron Pharmaceuticals purchased 23andMe through a bankruptcy auction. The $256 million paid by the drug maker will cover all units of 23andMe except its telehealth service, Lemonade Health. This comes as the company had been struggling with weak demand for its ancestry testing kits and after a data breach in 2023 that exposed millions of customers' genetic data. The companies expect to close the deal in the third quarter. Tasha Stevens reporting.
CBS News CEO Wendy McMahon says she's quitting. It's the latest fallout at the network as its parent company considers settling a lawsuit with President Trump. The lawsuit stems from a 60 Minutes interview. In an email message to staffers, McMahon says it has become clear that she and the company do not agree on the path forward. More on these stories at townhall.com.
What in the wide, wide world of sports is going on here?
I promise you, whatever scum did this, not one man on this force will rest for 1 minute until he's behind bars. Now let's grab a bite to eat. Yeah, come on.
I feel the hot wind on my shoulder and the touch of a world that is older. I hit the switch and check the number. I leave it on and then I slumber. I hear the rhythm ringing through it. Flamenco guitar and cumbia music. I hear the talking of the DJ. The travel listen, what does he say? I'm on a Mexican radio. I'm on a Mexican radio.
Broadcasting live from high atop the J.P. White Building in downtown Roswell, New Mexico. It's Mornings with Mike Winters on 106.5 Roswell's Talk FM.
Is that what I sound like when I talk?
Now, here's your host, Mike Winters.
And good morning. It is 6 minutes after 9 o'clock. Welcome to hour number 3.
I'm deaf now.
His headphones.
Those things, that popped hot. I was like,
oh. In all fairness, I went from air to program.
Oh, okay.
I think they got my air potted down on this thing.
Oh,
where
yeah,
it's not as loud as it needs to be.
They have it potted way
and
down.
So they need to pot it back up. It doesn't affect what's going out. It's just how I hear it. So,
right, it's
so
the
I
monitor.
So I went to program because I'm like, oh, people can hear what's going on. God, I can't tell.
And honestly, it just sounds better on our end.
Yeah. Well, to me, this is way tinnier than the on-air feed.
The problem, this is so inside baseball.
Yeah.
The problem with the air feed is that it's off of an actual radio antenna signal, and we're in the middle of a concrete building.
Yeah.
So we don't get a great signal in here.
Well, actually, we do, because
We
the
have a
antenna is
big
run up
honk
the
antenna.
elevator shaft and sitting on the roof of the building.
That's fair.
So we do.
That's
now, I would argue that the stereo it's attached to was hi-fi when your grandpa.
That's very true. That thing. Anytime you see a piece of electronic equipment with wood paneling, you can bet your bottom dollar that thing was.
We got the rolling, scrolling station tuner.
And that thing is like you like slightly go off and you're on a Spanish station. That thing is pinpoint precise.
Like you went to a stereo store to buy this bad boy.
Exactly. There is a specialist that walks on the floor, floor and knows these things.
Like if you've seen the movie Boogie Nights, where Don Cheadle's character wants to start his own stereo store. That's where you would buy this here, and he'd tell you about the hi-fi audio quality.
Dude, that triggers a memory. I wasn't a stereo salesman, but for a very quick minute when I was struggling, I moved to Albuquerque in 2000, right after my dad passed. Actually, it was after the mix swapped to Bob. My dad passed. It was a whole series of events. I ended up moving to Albuquerque with my buddy and lived up there for about a year.
Worked in radio for a little bit, didn't you?
Trying to get into
I thought
radio.
You worked for like a minute in a couple of radio places.
That's a story for another time. No, I was actually, the closest I got an interview to be a sales associate.
Nice.
Like, no. No,
you know,
not
you want to be the Herd Tarlick of Albuquerque?
I worked up a whole like ad campaign for a fake flower company. I thought it was pretty good. I thought the ad was pretty good, but never got a call back from that. But anyways, for a quick minute when I was living in Albuquerque, I worked the TV floor, the audio video floor at Circuit City.
Nice.
Yeah. And this was like right before all the bankruptcies and all the shutdowns.
So I'm curious.
Oh.
As a Circuit City employee, what was your bennies? Like, to get discounts on CDs and stuff or anything? Or?
It was like a 10% employee discount. I never used it.
Yeah.
Because everything there, let's be honest, that store closed for good reason because everything was way overpriced. But the big thing they always had us push was the monster cables.
Yeah.
That was like they just came out and they were hot like for HDMI cables.
Mm-hmm.
And like we went to classes where they told us like this is why Monster is better than all the other cables, and this is what you need to tell the customer. And so I was like chock full of knowledge. I still am chock full of knowledge about 2007 to 2010 TVs. Plasma was still a thing.
You're like, this is the epitome of TV excellence right here.
So here's the funny part: the TV that I fell in love with. So. You had all your high end not even LED or LCD, LED screens and plasma screens up in the front. Those were the fancy ones. All the mounting and stuff like that. And then towards the back, they had this gazebo that the specific use of the gazebo was to show off the stereo systems, the Dolby, the 5.1, because it was more enclosed,
right?
And you feel like you
can hear the left-right channels
exactly.
and all that better. Yeah.
So in this pavilion thing, they put a TV that most people wouldn't really be that interested in. However, it was pitch black dark in this thing amidst the fluorescent lights, so it was extra dark in this gazebo, and they had a Mitsubishi 60-inch DLP.
That's a four-letter word.
Yes.
DLP. I owned a DLP.
For those who don't know, it's the old school big screen TVs. It was a big plastic lens essentially, and inside the components was a gigantic mirror, a massive mirror, and this bulb. And the bulb was, you have to replace that bulb probably once. I replaced mine once every like 6 months.
Liars. Every 3 years.
Yeah, sure, 3 years.
I replaced it 3 times in 1 year. Liars.
But for some reason, I loved this TV. Like I fell in love with this TV.
Yeah.
And so when I moved back to Roswell, I went to Rent-A-Center and actually ended up rent-to-owning a Mitsubishi 60-inch
By the time
DLP.
you owned it, you replaced that tube like 27 times.
You're not wrong.
And if you buy it from the manufacturer, they're about $300 a pop.
Yeah, I had an online source. I was only paying about $40 a pop, but still, it was only last about 6 months. And after about 2 months, it got real dim.
And I'm telling you, the $300 bought you the red one. They bought you maybe 3-4 more months.
Sure.
Like you got 6 months. I maybe got 9 months out of the $300.
But that's what I'm saying. You got 6 months or like 6 months of real good,
Yeah.
and then like 3 months of like dim. Mine was like 2 months of ooh, that's some good picture right there. And then hey, what happened?
Yeah, that was a time where buyer's remorse, big time one. That's the one TV I've had the most buyer's remorse ever.
Mm-hmm.
Is that stupid DLP TV. Matter of fact, I remember the day I threw it in the dumpster in the alley, and that thing broke as I threw it in there.
So
someone still took it out of the dumpster and brought it. Like it disappeared before the trash man got it. Baffled.
This was maybe the origin of when I knew I had a problem. Had a problem that I inherited from my mother. I had the hardest time throwing that TV away because it still had a perfectly good mirror inside.
No, I want to go Office Space on mine. I was ready to go Office Space.
I eventually, I don't think I ever threw it. I think we just moved out of the place that it was, and that place got knocked down.
Like I legit remember when it was sitting on the ground doing the move. The reverse back kick from the movie. I tried to replicate that with that TV. Just
nice.
The one where Michael Bolton does it.
It does have a very collapsible screen. Like it looks like you could really feel good punching.
It's got a
thing
punchable
out.
face.
It does have a punchable face. You're right.
Yeah. I you can tell I have a little angst for that. To this day, that thing.
I knew as soon as I
scorn.
said DLP, you were gonna be like, because I remember you having that TV.
Oh gosh, I mean, it was great. When the first week or two I had it, I was like, oh, this is amazing. I got the coolest hit, and then after that, boy.
Because you have to remember, old school big screen TVs were garbage.
Yeah.
And then this DLP technology came out, and it's like, oh, this is crisp digital display.
Yeah.
And well. Time makes fools of us all.
Absolutely. Put it this way, projection's still way better than that DLP thing.
Yeah.
I'd rather have the projection screen.
Right.
Like rich fancy people have in their theater.
Watch this.
You're right.
Drop down screen.
And the real rich ones made their own commercials in between.
Right.
Kind of like Allen Theaters do. Like, please turn off your cell phones. We're about to be in the riot.
Did you not get movie trivia, Jim?
Right.
Wow. I'm impressed.
Or maybe it's not even a movie. It's like their personal trivia. This guy cut my grass last week.
Shout out to Norman.
3, 2, 1.
Oh, by the way, I need to get the name of the gentleman who came out yesterday and cleared my yard.
Yeah.
I wound up paying a guy. He did a fantastic job. I mean, just a fantastic job. So I'm going to find out his name and I'll shout him out later.
All right. Well, here, marketing tip. If you have a business like that, leave a card.
Yeah, leave a card.
That way they can get you back. If they appreciate your work, leave a card. And call you back.
Bonus business tip, get cards.
Get cards. First get cards, then leave them with
cards.
people. Let me give you the rundown for this hour of the show. We'll get you update weather and all that here in just a few. We are going to replay our interview we had last week with the ladies from the Chavez County Federated Republican Women, inviting folks out to their next meeting, which is tomorrow. So when they say next week, it's tomorrow. So come on out to that. They have a great meeting, and I believe they're talking city and county manager. I think this thing. Well, they tell you in the interview. I've slept since then, and I think that's what they talk about, but I'm not 100% certain. So we'll play that interview in just a bit. Before we do any of that, though, let's go ahead and get you up to date on the weather.
I'm meteorologist Steve Hamilton with your Pecos Valley weather. Pretty warm today, but the wind should stay fairly light, maybe a little breezy, sunny, and we're headed for the mid-80s. Overnight, low 50s and clear, and then we start a little warming trend on Wednesday. We'll be in the low to mid-90s, and we get sunshine. Sunny again on Thursday. We'll be staying in the mid-90s. Then we start to get into the upper 90s with sunshine on Friday. That's your latest forecast. I'm meteorologist Steve Hamilton.
Thank you, Steve. Currently, 60 degrees here in Roswell. Humidity's at 26%. Winds are out of the northeast at 7 miles per hour. Sunny today. Expect highs near 85. Winds out of the north, 5 to 10 miles per hour. They will shift to the south later this afternoon. So really today, beautiful day. Probably by far the best day of the week, weather-wise, in my opinion. Tonight, mostly clear. Overnight low of 53. South winds 5 to 10 miles per hour. Wednesday, we're looking at sunny skies. Low 90s tomorrow, 92 for a high. Winds will be out of the south at around 5 miles per hour. Tomorrow night, clear. Overnight low of 57. Southeast winds at around 5 miles per hour. And then Thursday, we start entering the stages of hot. Sunny and hot, 97 for our high on Thursday with winds out of the west, 5 to 10 miles per hour. Friday, we're looking at sunny and hot, century mark, 99 officially, but we'll probably hit 100 on Friday. Saturday, we're looking at sunny skies, 98 for a high. So if you got these graduations Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, the good news is I don't think you have to worry about winds or rain, but it will be hot. So hydrate, avoid direct sunlight, wear the hats, do everything to protect yourself, especially if it's a daytime deal. Let's see. For Sunday, we're looking at sunny skies and 91 for a high. And then Memorial Day, they have tacked on a 20% chance of some showers and thunderstorms. Otherwise, mostly sunny. 82 for a high on Monday, Memorial Day. All right, 9:18, we're going to take a quick commercial break, and then we're going to play our interview with the ladies from the Chavez County Federated Republican Women. Don't go away. You're listening to Mornings with Mike Winters.
The summer of fun is on at Roswell Honda. Now through the end of the month, get scorching savings across the lot on a great selection of vehicles, like a new 2026 Honda Passport as low as 3.99% for 36 months, or a 25 Honda Civic Sedan Hybrid, just 4.99% for 48 months, or lease a 2025 Honda Ridgeline all-wheel drive, just $409 a month for 36 months. Roswell Honda has the deals to take your summer adventure to a whole new level. The summer of fun begins at Roswell Honda, 2177 West 2nd.
Are you ready to succeed? At ENMU Roswell, they cater to your educational needs. Their dedicated facilities and faculties provide you with an exceptional learning experience. From academic programs to behavioral sciences, business, health education, or technical education, ENMU Roswell offers a wide variety of certifications and degree programs designed to take your education and experience to the next level. Register now on campus or online at roswell.enmu.edu. Eastern New Mexico University, Roswell. Success starts here.
Spring has sprung, so it's time to move on into the Calico Cow Fabric and Gift Shop in Roswell. Now the Cow is an authorized handy quilter long-arm dealer. Spring fabrics are here and summer fabrics are arriving daily, plus quilts, shirts, and rope bowls made right here at the Calico Cow. Brother sewing machines with warranties are also on sale. Plus, the Calico Cow can fix and perform maintenance on all brands. Log on to RoswellQuilting.com. Spring into the Calico Cow Fabric and Gift Shop, 200 East College in Roswell. Want to know how? Come see the cow.
The ultimate Wi-Fi experience is now available to you thanks to Smart Home Wi-Fi with Plateau. Get fiber-to-home technology 100 times faster than average household internet speed. Plateau has multiple plans and options to fit your family. With Fast, get true 100 megs per second download and upload speed. With Faster, get true 500 megs of download and upload speeds. And with Fastest, you get 1 gig. Learn more at plateautel.com. Get the speed you need with Plateau. Tried, true, trusted.
Maybe your AC unit needs a little tender loving care. If you don't know where to turn, then you don't know Jack. In fact, they're downright funky. Let the boys at Fergie's Plumbing and Heating get your AC unit ice cold, just like some of my lady friends. Don't let any fool make you lose your cool. Fergie's Plumbing and Heating. If you don't know Fergie, then you don't know Jack. 632-2660.
Some wounds need expert care to heal properly. At Artesia General Hospital's Wound Care and Hyperbaric Medicine Center, we use advanced treatments like hyperbaric oxygen therapy to help chronic wounds heal faster. If you or a loved one has a wound that won't heal, call 575-736-8235 today and take the first step toward recovery.
The average American spends 2.5 days a year looking for lost items. We aren't sure how long Europeans and Asians look for lost stuff. We lost the list. Here's Mike Winters.
And welcome. Chavez County Federated Republican Women are back with us. Of course, President Charlotte Goulet. There we go. Yeah,
right.
my tongue's a little tired right now. I don't know what's going on there. And also joining us, Polly Hartman, who is chairperson of the Americanism committee there with the Federated Republican Women. Good morning, ladies.
Good morning. Good morning.
How are you? How's you doing? How you feeling? I know this week's a little hot. Y'all dealing with the heat okay?
It hasn't started quite yet, but it's
the
beautiful
70s,
morning.
The 70s last week were nice, but
90s.
That was our spring.
Yeah, 90s the first couple of days this week, right?
Yeah, it's gonna be 90s all week here,
it's
so
gonna be nice.
it's very good. For to start us off, in case you're not familiar, the Chavez County Federated Republican Women, of course, they join us on the radio here each month, but part of what they do is right in the title there. They support the Republican Party for the state of New Mexico. Right. The Chavez County branch, particularly working with Chavez County candidates and things locally down here, but they do all the state. But that's kind of one half of it. If you're wanting to, conservative values, Republican values, you want to support that. That's this organization. However, the other half is service organization. It's working with students, working with the community, working with other nonprofit organizations to help them on their mission statements. And so when there's not elections and things going on to learn about candidates and promote the candidates that we want that meets our needs, you're out there serving in the community. So that's
exactly.
And the cool part is you get to hang out with them every month. And we usually come in a week before our meeting. And so that third Wednesday of the month.
Yes.
Is at 11:30 is the Chavez County Federated Republican Women. Used to be at the Convention and Civic Center, but we all know where that's going on. So the Elks have been
1720 North
the
Montana.
Elks have been your host for the last several months here, and of course they good for us. They know what they're doing in the kitchen, and they know how to host an event. So the only thing that changes is it's a different address. Everything else is the same.
Correct. Yeah, absolutely right.
And of course, each month you come in and kind of preview the meeting for us and say, hey, depending, obviously, when it's close to election season, You generally see a lot of candidates and a lot of elected officials or hopeful elected officials coming to talk to you. But kind of in this, it's still like we're still doing a lot of legislative stuff, a lot of things. So there's still a lot to talk about, even though there's not necessarily an election right around the corner.
Right. We had the legislators come in last month to give us a recap of the session. So that was very informative.
Yeah.
And then this month we have the county manager, the city manager, and also the deputy chief, RPD deputy chief, Michael Taylor. He's going to be joining us. Yeah.
Very good. So it's kind of a now you get to hear the people behind the scenes that runs the things that aren't elected officials. Like like at the end of the day, if you aren't familiar, a county manager answers to the county commission.
Right.
But they're the ones that run the county as far as who's hired and what departments are, and make sure the departments are doing the thing. That's what the county manager does, and then the city manager does it for the city. He answers to the city, or she, but in this case it's a he. Answers to the city council.
Right.
And so that they're really the city manager is the person that makes the city or the county go. They're the ones that are they're the head. They're the highest person that's not elected in the city or the county. They're different things. So you really, if you want to know how the sausage is made in Chaves County and the city of Roswell, those two people know more than anybody else about that.
Yes.
And then, like you said, you're talking to Deputy Chief, who serves directly under Police Chief Lance Bateman. As a matter of fact, we just had Mike Taylor on back when every 15 minutes was on here about 2 weeks ago with the Chaves County DBOBI program.
Great program.
Mike was kind of our Sherpa to kind of tell us what's going on and explain everything here. So you'll get a chance to meet him next week as well, if you haven't already.
Years ago, I used to be the DWI coordinator, so very
you probably
familiar
not dealt with Mike quite, or
with that program. Every 15,
program.
With Diane Taylor. Yeah,
yes,
absolutely.
She's still running it like she is with like a pretty well-oiled machine.
Oh yeah, ball of energy.
Very good.
Yeah.
So great guest next time. So
Yes.
I got to ask the next question. What's on the menu?
It is going to be a taco plate with beans, rice, and salsa.
Can't go
and that's
wrong with
for $17. And we are asking that people RSVP ahead of time so we can make sure that we have plenty of food.
We don't want to
available.
overwhelm the chefs at the Elks there to get that done.
And the food is absolutely amazing. Again, that's going to be Wednesday, May 21st.
And it's really affordable. I mean, you think $17, but you bought lunch lately? Or dinner lately? Or anything else
know,
lately?
it's ridiculous.
Anywhere? And you're dropping coins. So to be honest, the fact that they're able to pull this off for that price is probably of a blessing for us all.
Yes. Doors open at 11:30. The buffet starts moving around 11:40.
And if you want to just come for the meeting, you're more than welcome. You don't have to. But if you and they ask you to RSVP either way. But if you're not coming for food, it's not as big an issue because they really want to know how many plates to go and how many spaces for everybody. But I'm going to tell you what's going to happen is you're like, no, I'm not going to eat. I'm on a diet or I'm whatever. And then you walk in there and it's tacos and beans. Come on. Gotta make me hungry. And then you're going to want to mooch off the guys next to your plate and all that. Just get a plate.
And for that $17, you get your plate, you get iced tea or water, and you get dessert.
Yeah.
Plus, listen, to very informative speakers.
I'm saying this time you got really three good. I mean, they're always good ones, but this is three good ones this time. Like, if you're really wanting to know how things run in your neighborhoods, you're talking to three people that really have their finger on the pulse of that stuff. And so if you got questions, if you want to hear that stuff, there's not going to be many more people in the room that are going to know more than these three people about that.
Oh, absolutely. They're going to touch on what's going on in the city as well as the county, but then more specifically, the air races, they're both involved, with that setup.
Absolutely.
So, I'd like to see what their take is on it.
Absolutely. We're all scrambling. I was kind of talking earlier in the day with folks on the radio about, this Reno air races, and it's going to be a learning curve for us. I'm telling you right now, expect to be some issues this year because I don't know if we expect what we expect are coming. We talk about it, but until it happens, it's kind of hard to wrap your head around.
Yeah.
And so we're going to have some learning issues. And yes, we don't have all the infrastructure in place that they really need to do everything, but we will.
Yeah.
And so, this year we're going to learn some things. It's going to make it a great thing, but there might be a few points of that didn't work. That wasn't right. And then we're going to get better. But these are the kind of meetings you have to talk about these things and to hear about what's going on. This is an amazing opportunity. But we got a lot of work to do to make sure this amazing opportunity comes to fruition.
Bobby Thompson was also, one of the speakers last month, and she was kind of giving us an idea of what to expect.
Yeah.
And she said that the pilots were going to be coming in this month to
this month they're getting their licenses and getting certified on the courses out there and everything. Yeah,
right.
This is a kind of a dress rehearsal this month. So
yeah, and she was saying that they anticipate about $80 million in revenue for the area. So I mean that's remarkable.
Ain't nothing wrong with those numbers,
right? And she said that they have about 1,000 trash cans ready to go out there. So I mean,
and no one thinks of these things.
Yeah.
You just think you show up to an event and it happens. No, you got to plan every detail to how many trash cans are around at a given area, and that's going to be a learning curve. We're gonna, I'm going to take a stab. We'll get overwhelmed this year. It's going to happen. It's not. It's just how we respond and how we do is one thing, but if you don't think this one's not going to be as smooth as butter, it's not gonna, because it's the first one of many. It's a big bite. This is a big thing. I don't think this is literally the International Balloon Fiesta second version of it coming to Roswell, New Mexico, and the amount of wheels that have to be turned to pull that event off. We're at that same capacity with this one. This is another thing I don't think people wrap. The UFO festival that we have here in a month is internationally known, and with it, we're literally having 2 internationally level events in a town of 50,000 in a year, and it's going to be every year. Wrap your head around. That's an amazing thing to think about.
It definitely is.
So that's why I'm saying we're going to screw this up a little bit this first time, because it's a lot to take in. Yeah. But we got to accept that and understand that, and let's learn from it, and let's all. And so next year's going to be a little bit better, and I think about 3 or 4 years of this thing under our belt, it's going to work like gangbusters. But we got a learning curve ahead of us.
Right.
And that's
I'm hoping that the city manager Chad Cole and also county manager Bill Williams will be able to
give us an
update on
where we're at on that, because I know a lot of people are like, how are we going to pull this off? I don't know. Guess what? They're going to tell you, like I said, there's going to be some rough patches, but we're going to figure it out. We'll figure it out one thing at a time. And so come and hear the latest on that kind of stuff too, if you want to know about that, or like you said, city right now is in the middle of master planning and all that stuff.
That's right. I did see that.
You can kind of talk a bit. I'm sure Chad will have a few things to say about that at the ladies' meeting next week here. So.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. And we are also going to be awarding some scholarships, and that's where I'm going to.
Part.
Yes, I'm going to hand it over to
Polly
Hartman.
This is where you get to come in.
Right. She is the chair of our patriotism committee, and she's the one that's taken the lead on this project.
This is not the scholarships. Actually, there's another group that has some scholarships to present. Maybe at the May meeting they'll be presenting. But this is an 8th grade level patriotism essay contest.
Nice.
And it was begun in, I think, 2012.
I was about to say, this has been going on for a bit. Yeah, this is not the first year you
This is the 3rd year we've done it with the Gateway 8th graders.
Okay.
And they started, I guess, at University High, and then later with some of the other probably public schools. This year we'd hoped to include some homeschoolers in this essay contest, but that just didn't come together this year. But we often have between 25 and 50 applicants, students, to write essays. We've presented to them the project. And we have it was started out with these requirements and has continued 3 points that the kids are to cover in their essay. The definition of patriotism. The next one is, who is the most patriotic person you know or you know of, or someone who is, from history that you want to talk about.
Someone you know, or someone you know of?
Exactly. And then the third question is, how can you be more patriotic or be patriotic? Some ideas or things you're already doing. So we like them to cover those particular
and I like
points.
I like it because, to be honest, you can't answer 2 and 3 without answering question 1 first. Like if you don't define what patriotism means to you, it's kind of hard to see it, spot it, and do it yourself. So I love that it kind of forces these 8th grade students to kind of think about this thing a little bit. And to be honest, patriotism means a lot to people, and it means different things to people. And some people, it's all about flag waving and red, white, and blue. Others, it's a little deeper than that.
Yeah.
And both are right in their own ways.
Right. And these essays show those different ideas. And so we've had several people be the judges of the essays and have come up with 3 winners. And
that's great.
Those haven't been announced to the kids yet. So
well, you got to come and eat some tacos with us here and find out. Next Wednesday, you'll find out.
I think, this week we will be presenting them to the kids at Gateway in person.
And that's another thing. I know if we ever want to do that, and some of these scholarship kids want to join us on one of these meetings, love to have them come in.
That would be.
It's always fun
that would be awesome.
to let them kind of share their thoughts with us and present that stuff.
We do give them an award, and was told I could tell what the awards are. First place is $200. Second place and third place each get $100.
Nice.
And so their eyes lit up when I was telling them about that. So.
Well, I know they're already thinking what they can buy with that $200 or $100.
It's already spent.
Okay, I need a new thing for my phone or whatever it is they're thinking about. That's what they're
electronics.
Thinking about. Yeah, something electronics.
Who knows? But that about covers this project.
So for this year, it's all said and done. But like you said, this has been going on for yearly. Be on the lookout. Get more involved and find out when the process starts next year. Maybe your 8th grader can get in on this one. Like you said, we're hoping to bring more homeschoolers, more bigger scope to more students having access to this opportunity.
So in addition to the 3 speakers that we have on there, we are going to be identifying the essay winners. There's also a scholarship award that's going to be announced, and New Mexico Federated Republican Women are going to come in.
Okay.
And they have a scholarship program as well.
Oh,
and
great.
I think the recipient this year
so
is
the big boss is coming down.
Right. Teresa Barncastle, and the recipient is from Chaves County as well. So all 3 of those will be
announced. It's all coming up
at
bases here in Chaves County right now. That's amazing. We got some great students working hard, and we get to brag on them a little bit next week here, which is really cool.
And I love that idea of bringing them in. Maybe we can do that.
I'd love to do a spotlight.
Yeah,
I love because I like to
have the young people.
Yeah, I like to give them a little shine too on the radio.
Oh yeah,
it's kind of a big deal. People be on the radio. I'm a little jaded to it, but I know other people are.
That's a wonderful idea. I'll definitely put that on my list.
And to be honest, I love when people hear and see. Like I get it. You live this world and you get online, and if you ain't mad about something, you ain't living. That's the world we live in, and it's easy to get into dark places when these things happen. You know what the best reminders of that? Seeing and showing young people doing great things. And anytime I can give one of these kids a platform and to spotlight them, but for our own mental health when those, because we all have those moments like, man, we're doomed. And then some bright kid says something like, okay, we're not doomed. We just got to tap into the right people.
Well, it would be great to hear it from their perspective.
Love
the younger generation and see what that means.
The older we get, the more set in our ways and thoughts and the way we do things. And sometimes we need to be reminded by young people that maybe we shouldn't lock the door yet. Maybe we should open that up and allow other thoughts and opinions to, we can evolve and grow and change even on your deathbed if you choose to. You know what I mean? And sometimes we as humans forget that. And the older we get, the more entitled we get, the more I've been doing this a long time, therefore it must be so. And sometimes we got to shake our own selves out of those types of mindsets and
keep that open mind.
And sometimes a 16-year-old kid with some bright ideas is just the medicine you need to do that.
Sometimes, oh yeah.
Hey,
I have plenty of grandkids that tell me that. Grams, that's old school. You need to listen.
Absolutely. Yeah. But we would love to come to the next meeting. Again, it's always that third Wednesday of the month, 11:30, and for the foreseeable future, it'll be at the Elks Lodge there. It's always offering a delicious meal each month, so pre-register to get that done. And come and join us. Come hear the great stuff. Come it's put it this way: if you're wanting to hear what's going on in our community, this is a monthly opportunity to kind of be plugged in.
Right.
And by the way, you get to eat delicious food while you do it. So might as well call it a win and get plugged in and like this time we really get to see the leaders that are literally making the decisions and executing the things that our elected officials do, those are going to be the people in the room that you get to pick their brain and hear.
Oh, sure. That's our mission, is to keep the public informed. So
Yeah.
come out and have a nice meal. Listen, to our speakers.
Yeah.
Get involved. Come
Absolutely.
be part of.
And that's another thing. Always
committee.
looking for more federated Republican women and fellas to be a part of that. The men are more than welcome to be a part of it. You serve in a auxiliary type role.
Associate.
That's the word. I always every organization has their unique word. Associate type role. And so you serve at that level. But the family, kids get involved too. That a lot of these scholarships and stuff. These are young folks that are. You may see them at the meeting, bussing tables or doing various ancillary things that needed to get done. These are kids that are learning and earning towards a scholarship. They're junior level Chaves County Federated Republican women, basically, right. And they are kind of, and hopefully at one point being regular Chaves County Federated Republican women. That's the old goal, is get a farm club here. But
future voters,
future voters, future things, and that's
absolutely.
And so that's what this organization's about. And like I said, this is that service side. And when they're not doing it, they're always helping out TrueServe, just various other, the Assurance Home. That's one of your pet projects. Are always doing stuff for work for that organization. And so it's as much of that as it is, debates and candidates and all that kind of stuff.
And like you said, even if you are not interested in a meal, give us a call. We'll have a seat reserved for you.
If you're not hungry, well, I defy you not to be hungry once you smell everything.
Oh, I know. It's a great venue. The food's
better willpower
great.
than me. and actually, while I got you here, Paul, I kind of talk a little bit about the Americanism, the Patriotic Committee. I mean, yes, this is one of your big things, but what's kind of what is some of the things your committee kind of focuses on? I'm just curious.
I was asked to be on the board and as the Americanism chairwoman, and she said, all you need to do is lead the pledge at the meetings.
So it's really promoting that. But like you said, it's a little more than that, obviously. But yes, working with the youth and
actually, it made me think about some things of bringing a young person in the first month after I accepted the job. A young woman had memorized the Gettysburg Address, and it was in February.
Nice.
And I thought, hey, I know, I bet she would share that with us, and it was a hit.
Awesome.
And so that had to do with Americanism, I felt like, and another later.
So it's kind of,
just
focusing,
ideas,
hey, don't forget, this is our history, this is our stuff. Who we are, what we are, this is why we are, and from time to time, we're going to remind you of that.
There are no major set things for Americanism other this essay
promote these scholarships
contest
and things like this, these opportunities, and promoting American history
to do with,
to our younger cultures and things, and it's. But this is the big thing, and yes, kids learn history and history books, and they'll learn dates and begats this and that. And as you get a little older, going on to higher high school and college levels, they get a little more talking about these discussions and things. But history, yes, dates and stuff are finite. On this date, this happened to what. But the rest of it's a little, opinions, great, perspectives and things like that. And sometimes that's the side of history where you got to use your critical thinking brain and decide, okay, what's more wives' tale or promoting an agenda versus this is what happened, who went where, when, and did what, and whom. And sometimes history gets a little, there's an event, like you could talk about a particular event and you'll get 20 people have different opinions on that event. And so that's what the Americanism side is important to say, yes, we had this whatever thing, this is what it is, this is what happened, this is how people are feeling at the time. And, it's what, and as a guy that likes history, it's real easy to judge it from your perspective. And people forget, this thing happened in a certain day, but you don't understand. You're thinking about it from your 2025 brain. Let's think about this in your 1861 brain and see how life was and see if this seems so radical to you. And that's the point I like to remind with people of history. And I think the Americanism does that too. It's like, yes, our history has lots of tragedy and lots of things that happen. But to judge it from a 2025 brain is not fair. That's like people that talk about our forefathers. There was a slavery. Yeah. In 1776, this is the mindset. they didn't think the same that we do in 2025. And so
Right.
for you to judge their thought process in a 2025 version is not fair. And I like to remind people. But anyway, I got way sidetracked.
I haven't branched out a whole lot with Americanism in our group, but I've enjoyed being part of it.
Absolutely. And so come next week. Come here Wednesday. Again, 11:30 is when the door, everything will get underway here.
Doors open.
The actual meeting will probably start about noon.
At noon.
And so you got time to eat and mingle and chit chat and visit with friends. It's a social thing as much as an informative thing. There's a lot of people you ain't seen all month, and you see them there. It's like, hey, you got a little sauce. But that's so it's as much a social fun thing as it is information, educational, and informative. It's
absolutely.
And so I just kind of put it on your calendar, third Wednesday every month. Mark it down, Chaves County Federated Republic, and make it note.
Can I just give the
Absolutely.
the email? Okay, to RSVP, it's rsvpccfrw@gmail.com.
Okay.
So shoot us an email. Let us know if you're interested.
And if you don't
meeting.
remember any of that, I invite you to go to the Chaves County Federated Republic of Women Facebook page. Put in the message, sorry, I heard you on the radio. I missed the email, but me and my friend are coming. Can you RSVP us? And one of the ladies will say, yep, we'll get you locked in.
Absolutely.
Or get it to the people that does lock.
Yes. Yes,
But
definitely.
so if you forget the email or don't remember, and of course if you know a Federated Republican Women member, they'd be happy to help you navigate through. So if
Reach out to any of us.
Yeah, if one's your neighbor or your friend or coworker, then tap into them too.
Yeah, absolutely.
Very good.
Bring in a neighbor, a friend, and come join us.
Share, especially, and I would offer that, especially if you came and you're like, man, this is really informative, good. Bring a friend next time. Bring it, and this is, and to be honest, maybe you're not the most conservative person in the world. That's okay. Come and listen. Come here. Guess what? You want the same things. We all want to be happy. We want the best for our families and ourselves.
And we want to be informed.
Yeah, this is all universal. It don't matter if you D, R, green, nothing, purple. It doesn't matter. All people want that.
Very true.
Awesome. Ladies, is there anything that I sidebarred us on or with something you wanted to cover that we didn't get a chance to?
I would just say I was a Republican woman for quite a few years and read about these meetings and in the paper, and I just finally started thinking I ought to go to one of those.
The light bulb clicked one day. And said,
yes, and really, once I did, I thought this is very informative and everything we've talked about.
Yeah.
So I
You find purpose here. That's why you're still
yes,
here.
And it definitely helped me, and it is good to get together with like-minded.
I'm telling you, if you're kind of in a rut and you're not, and you socially even, come make some friends.
Yeah, right.
I mean, it's the Chaves County Federated Republic of Women. You're probably gonna have a bunch of girlfriends, and now we'll go out to drinks or coffee or whatever you're into.
Actually, we do that. We're a fun group. Hey, come
Exactly.
and join us. Yeah, we'd love to have you.
Come be again. Look for Chaves County Federated Republic of Women on Facebook. You just type in all of that or CCFWR, something like that.
CCFRW.
There it is. I got the acronym mixed up there, but you look for that. It'll come right up. And then of course, don't forget next Wednesday, 11:30 a.m. at the Elks Lodge here in town. That's the next Chaves County Federated Republican Women. This is your official 2-minute notice. You got to get RSVP'd and get out there for next week.
Absolutely. Love to see you.
Thank you, ladies, and we'll see you here in about a month.
Thank you, Mike. Sounds great.
Perfect.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mike.
Sounds great.
With your Pecos Valley news update, I'm Jared Sorello. The outdoor pool at the Roswell Recreation and Aquatic Center will open on a daily basis beginning Saturday. The pool will be open from noon to 5:45 p.m. each day. Admission fees and pool rules can be found on the city's website or by calling Roswell City Hall. The city's 2 splash pads at Pocorn Park and Carpenter Park are awaiting some replacement parts that still need to be installed before the splash pads can be opened. The timetable for the arrival of those parts is not yet known. The equestrian community is remembering longtime New Mexico quarter horse and thoroughbred trainer Gregorio Tomas Vallejos. Vallejos passed away at his home in Dexter on May 13th. Vallejos' son, Greg, posted on social media that his dad loved what he did in horse racing, whether it was training quarter horses or thoroughbreds. Vallejos had 62 wins as a thoroughbred trainer and 132 wins as a quarter horse trainer. You're up to date. I'm Jared Sorello.
Turn up your radio. Here's the Sean Hannity Morning Minute.
On the economy, Reagan dropped the top marginal rates from 70 to 28%. And after a hiccup, because it took a couple of years for his plan to get implemented, and first 2 years of his administration were inflationary, then it was like, the sky's the limit. Revenues to government dropping taxes that dramatically doubled at the time. Believe it or not, it sounds like nothing. $500 billion to over $1 trillion. And it was the longest at that time period of peacetime economic growth in history. And it resulted in the creation of 21 million new jobs. And those policies still work today.
Check out the Sean Hannity radio show later today, right here.
We've got trade wars, inflation, skyrocketing national debt, and a potential recession looming. It's no wonder gold keeps hitting record highs. With everything going on in the world, thousands of hard-working Americans are looking to diversify their savings with precious metals like gold and silver. And they're turning to the top-rated gold company, Gold Co. With over 6,000 five-star customer reviews, an A-plus rating from the Better Business Bureau, and the industry's highest buyback guarantee, Gold Co. is the preferred precious metals company of thousands of Americans. Right now, Gold Co. is offering you a free 2025 gold and silver kit. Plus, you could get unlimited bonus silver if you qualify. Find out how you can help diversify your savings, tax and penalty free today. Visit HannityGold.com or call 855-815-GOLD. That's HannityGold.com or call 855-815-GOLD.
It's time for the Chaves County Sports Report. Yesterday told you about NMMI winning their baseball championship. That's a great job by the Colts. There were several other teams, three of them, in fact, from Chaves County. They got pretty close. For instance, Gateway Christian Class 1A made it to the championship game before falling to Magdalena, the top seed, by a score of 7-3. Gateway finishes 15-5. Dexter, top seed in Class 3A softball, loses to Cobre by a score of 5-4. Dexter finishes 26-4, but they just could not get over Cobre. Cobre also beat them 2-1 in 8 innings earlier at the state tournament. And how about Goddard in 4A baseball making it to the state semifinals? Goddard just couldn't solve Artesia pitcher Jack Byers on Friday, losing to Artesia 2-0. Goddard finishes 14-15, but makes it to the state semis. The Sports Report brought to you by DSI. Call DSI for all your office technology needs. I'm Eric Butler at Roswell Talk FM 106.5.
I'm meteorologist Steve Hamilton with your Pecos Valley weather. Pretty warm today, but the wind should stay fairly light, maybe a little breezy, sunny, and we're headed for the mid-80s. Overnight, low 50s and clear, and then we start a little warming trend on Wednesday. We'll be in the low to mid-90s, and we get sunshine. Sunny again on Thursday. We'll be staying in the mid-90s. Then we start to get into the upper 90s with sunshine on Friday. That's your latest forecast. I'm meteorologist Steve Hamilton.
With the Wall Street Business Report, I'm Rich Thomason. Shares of Home Depot have been moving higher, rising more than 2% pre-market after the home improvement chain beat Wall Street sales targets and reaffirmed previous sales growth projections despite an ongoing housing market slump. Target and Home Depot rival Lowe's report their latest results tomorrow. In comments at its annual investor conference, J.P. Morgan CEO Jamie Dimon suggested that geopolitical risks remain a major threat to the global and the U.S. economies. Dimon says stagflation, a recession with inflation, would be a worst-case scenario. Global markets rallied today after China cut key interest rates to help fend off an economic slump worsened by trade friction with the U.S. China's central bank made its first cut to its loan prime rates in 7 months, the move welcomed by investors. For the Wall Street Business Report, I'm Rich Thomason.
Are rates and inflation getting you down? Roswell Nissan thinks 0 is a much better number, as in 0.0% on brand new 2025 Nissan Pathfinders, and low rates on brand new Armadas, Rogues, and Altimas. Roswell Nissan is the home of the largest used car supercenter in the state. A massive selection of trucks and SUVs, including a huge selection of certified pre-owned vehicles. And now through May 31st, get no payments for 90 days, and payments as low as $199 a month. Think low, think 0 at Roswell Nissan, 2111 West 2nd.
Looking to start, continue, or complete your higher education journey? Join the more than 5,700 current Greyhounds on their journey to student success. Eastern New Mexico University offers the most affordable higher education degree in the Southwest, and New Mexico residents can go to school tuition-free with the New Mexico Opportunity Scholarship. With online or in-person degrees, ENMU is the right choice for you. For more information, visit enmu.edu. ENMU, student success, that's what we're about.
Have you spent a lot of time trying to whiten your teeth with no real success? Here at Carabelli Dental, we have a solution. Get that perfect smile you've always wanted with veneers. Veneer treatment is quick and minimally invasive and will provide you with a confident smile in just a couple easy steps. You deserve to love your smile, so don't let another day pass you by without calling us to start the smile design process.
Come see the team at Carabelli Dental at the corner of 9th and Main in Roswell, or call 575-622-4455.
Bring rugged durability and high-grade performance to your home laundry room with a Maytag commercial-grade residential washer. Engineered with powerful parts, including a half-horsepower motor and dual-action agitator, it is truly built to last. Shop Bush Appliance today and bring home a powerful washer. Bush Appliance, woodworks, and installation. When it comes to cabinets, appliances, and installation, who you gonna call? Bush Appliance in Roswell. Stop by 111 West Country Club Road in Roswell or call 575-622-6390.
The average American spends 2.5 days a year looking for lost items. We aren't sure how long Europeans and Asians look for lost stuff. We lost the list. Here's Mike Winters.
And good morning. It is 9:55. Got a few minutes here before we wrap up the show. Don't forget, if you missed any part of our show today, you can go back and check it out at your leisure. Just log on to ksvptv.com. Click on the Mornings with Mike Winters channel there, and then the tab will open up by date. You can see the shows there and everything else. In the 7 o'clock hour, we replayed our interview we had with Victoria Arnett and her father, Bobby Arnett, from Scouting America and Conquistador Council here, inviting folks out to join them as they put Terry for Memorial Day weekend. Also had the folks from the Chaves County Extension Office join us in the 8 o'clock hour, Tamara and Katie, and their intern for the next month or so is Anita joining us as well, talking about 4-H and fair and extension club stuff and all kinds of stuff there. And, of course, we just replayed our interview we had with the ladies from the Chaves County Federated Republican Women. They joined us last week talking about their meeting tomorrow at the Elks Club there. That's their new home since we've lost the convention center for the time being.
Down on Sunset.
Yeah, so all of that there. I do want to mention real quick that there is still time to sign your children up for Camp Invention. The camp will be the first week of June. Was it 2nd to the 6th?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, that exactly is.
Like a week from this coming Monday.
Yes, exactly. It will be at All Saints Catholic School again this year. It is daily during that week here, where it's from 9 to 3:30. There is an opportunity for an additional fee for an extended, if you can drop your child off as early as like 7:30 and pick them up as late as like 5:30. So, but anyway, invent.org/camp. Go there. Type in, it'll say find a camp near you. Click that, and then you'll see one for Roswell. Type in Roswell and all that, or communicator, and it'll show you the one camp here in Roswell. You can sign up there. If you need a partial scholarship to help out with the cost of this, you can do so, but don't go through the website.
Nope.
Call Peggy Bolin direct. You can reach her via her phone at 575-420-9955. Again, 575-420-9955, or shoot her an email, pbolin2016@gmail.com. The letter P, BOHLIN 2016@gmail.com.
Peggy, I'll be hitting you up to get Hunter enrolled. I just found out that Roblox camp, he's too young. Last year he was okay. He was of okay for that class, but I guess this time they aged it up. So
okay,
I found out something interesting that I thought you would find interesting.
All right.
So I know for a fact you are a fan, an aficionado of cherry Coke.
Big time.
Yes. It's always been your number one as far as your fountain beverage goes. So I knew you were a fan. So, do you know the origins of cherry Coke?
It showed up in a Coke can one day when I opened up at a convenience store.
Believe it or not, Cherry Coke, the Coca-Cola company, debuted a cherry variant of their Coca-Cola formula at the 1984 World's Fair. In I believe, New Orleans.
Okay.
Yeah, that got me down this rabbit hole of when's the last time you heard about something from a World's Fair? Because for the longest time growing up, everybody's like, oh, we got that at the 1967 World's Fair. It was a grand excursion. But you never hear about him anymore.
You know, when you say that, the first thing that goes to my head is like, we invented this new cherry cola at the World's Fair. We haven't had an invention this big since the waffle cone.
You know, the waffle cone wasn't a World's Fair
That's
creation.
why I said it.
Absolutely. But yeah, no, that was the first time. And then they was such a hit at the World's Fair that they, the next year, which was 1985, released it on store shelves, and eventually in 1987 made a bolder version for fountains.
Nice.
So the one you enjoy in fountains, that's a bolder version.
Usually fountain is bolder than canned or bottled.
Yeah.
So we got to go, but I did. But yeah, the waffle thing, they basically ran out of bowls for the ice cream, and so they partnered up with the waffle dude, and hence the waffle cone.
They made waffle cones, yep.
And we are thankful for that amalgamation.
God love
today.
your World's Fair.
Right there with peanut butter and chocolate. We got to go. You're listening to 106.5 Roswell's Talk FM, KEND, Roswell, New Mexico. Have an amazing day. Thank you. Take care.
Breaking news this hour from townhall.com. I'm John Scott. Speaking with reporters earlier, President Trump says he's at the Capitol to give Republicans a pep talk as they work on a tax cuts bill.
I'm a cheerleader for this party, and I'm a cheerleader for the country, much more importantly for the country. But I'm a cheerleader for the party, and we're going to go up, and I think we're going to have a very good discussion. There are one or two points that some people feel strongly about.
The president dismissing challenges the bill might cut Medicare and Medicaid funding. Also at townhall.com, another round of tornadoes has struck the central U.S. after 4 days of tornadoes, thunderstorms, and heavy rain killed more than 24 people. At least 4 tornadoes confirmed in Oklahoma and Nebraska on Monday evening. Thousands losing power. Homes were destroyed also. Correspondent Bruce Schreider reports that residents of London, Kentucky are determined to bounce back following a Friday night tornado that caused major damage.
Some trees were uprooted, others are standing. No limbs are